I think we're live.
I think
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the live stream. And if you're tuning in on when the live stream's finished, welcome. I'm here with Chris again. Chris from Toys of the Jedi. I'm sure if people that have been on this live stream before will know Chris's face. How you doing, mate? You all right?
I'm good, thank you. Good to be here. Looking forward to this. It's been a busy week, at least a week now. But yeah, it's good to be here. Hello to everybody in the chat, and yeah, thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, no worries. You're looking very snazzy there in your cockpit.
Yeah, I've got to be careful not to press too many buttons. Try and stay the course. We should be all right.
Brilliant. But we'll wait for a few more people to get in before we get started. Pretty sure we're going to have only one Kenobi come in a bit later on to join the stream, which will be awesome. But for now, it's just me and Chris. We're going to be talking about the recent reveals and what we think of them in a bit more detail. Obviously, I did my video just sort of showcasing what was announced, really. Very sort of overview thoughts of what they were and everything, but I haven't really gone into detail of what I actually really think of them. So we'll just wait for a couple more people to get in. I think we've got nearly 40 now, so we'll just wait a couple of seconds. But just say hello to a few people in the chat. Hi, Gold5. Hi, Antonio. Big Biscuit. How you doing? Mystery Mando. TK6287. Big Biscuit. Yep. And Bruce Wayne. Where's Batman? Jared Barnes.
Yeah, I will indeed stay on target. Don't you worry about it.
Shakes the Clones. Hi, mate. Delvian Seek, good evening. And I've got to thank Delvian Seek. He's supporting me on Patreon now, so I really do appreciate that, my friend. Thank you so much for the support. Squidhead, how you doing, my friend? Sea Moles, Milkshake Fortnite. We've got 50 odd people in now, so
cool.
Yeah, so let me just bring this up first, because this is the first thing I want to talk about. So when this dropped, Chris, what were your initial thoughts?
To be honest, this is better than I'd actually imagined that it could be. It's a fantastic looking set. I love the detail, and again, it just shows that I think Hasbro haven't forgotten this scale of figures, because if they're willing to plow a load of new tooling into what is completely new sculpts, it's a definite injection, punch of adrenaline to say, yes, this is it. It's the good stuff still coming. Don't worry. So yeah, absolutely thrilled with this set.
Yeah. I mean, you can't tell by the picture there, but it does actually have the foil chase, because it is essentially a convention exclusive. If San Diego Comic Con was on, then this would have been the vintage collection piece for that convention. But it is like foil chase, just like the Luke Jedi one from last year. And the back of it's got a really nice like foil image artwork and everything going on as well. I don't know if you've seen the pictures of the in hand pictures they were going around on Instagram, but it really does look nice. But as I think I said in my video, when this thing first dropped, I think it was cnet.com that announced this one, and I thought, what are they doing announcing something like this? This is the sort of thing this is the sort of thing that Hasbro should be doing on their Fans First Friday, really. In my opinion, they should be giving us the good stuff, but and then they won't get so many bad comments. But when the first image this came up, it didn't have the image of the box. It's just the three figures standing together. And at the very first time I saw it, I thought, is that just like an artist's impression? Someone mocked that up. But then obviously I looked more deeper into it, and I was like, oh my god, that's just exactly the sort of thing that I personally want out of a 3-pack, and to be 501st clones as well.
Yeah.
And with the realistic head sculpts, which I prefer. I know a lot of people do like the animated style, but me personally, I like the realistic style, especially as it's vintage collection.
Yeah, absolutely. I quite like both styles. I think the animated certainly worked really well for while the show was running, but now the show's stopped, I think having them in that realistic style just to go with everything else in the rest of the vintage collection is great. It's a really good good juxtaposition. It works really well. Interesting you saying about CNET getting the scoop on this one. I know Hasbro have done things like this in the past. I think some of their thinking is that obviously they'll that some just normal casual CNET readers or viewers, however you want to put it, will sort of stumble across the item and go, "That looks really cool. I want to get that." And that's kind of where they're looking to hook people in that way. But I totally take your point. Yeah, if they'd have been dropping this on the fans first stuff, you get a completely different comments section off the back of that.
I mean, it's like a mutual agreement between the two of them, isn't it? Basically, so you've got Hasbro get extra, eyes on their product essentially because CNET's a big website, and CNET get the scoop. So it's like a joined up thing, and that's why they do that, I guess. And the same with the Yahoo.com one and whatever. Each media agency or paper or website, whatever, gets the scoop. And it just works all round, I guess. But when it comes to those, when they started those Fans First Friday, they've done that because obviously there's no convention, so they've got to have some way of communicating with the fans. They still use their Hasbro Pulse Facebook group to do that, and I think they just have shot themselves in the foot a little bit with what they've announced on those, because it just hasn't really sort of put them in very good light really compared to this, which is a bit of a shame, because they do get a lot of stick for it. But and then when they do come out with something like this, everyone's rightly so loving it.
Well, absolutely. I think I've quite enjoyed the Fan First Fridays and this, that, and the other. I think it's been quite nice just getting a little bit of a steady drip of information coming out. I think a lot of people are still very much used to back in the day where you had Toy Fair and you had San Diego Comic-Con, and that was pretty much it. That was the only real places that you get a big dump of information from Hasbro, a load of new products, tons and tons of figures revealed all in one go. And so to go from that to then suddenly, well, here's just 2 reveals if you're lucky, it's a big change. But there's all sorts of factors we've spoken about before. Less figures are being released per year now. People are a lot more resourceful in getting the scoop on things before they're even revealed. So there's a lot of that sort of stuff.
I think the Fans First Friday, I think people expect a lot from those, and I don't think they're designed to do that. It's just like it's almost like a casual. But then again, I can understand why people were a little bit disappointed, because the amount of Black Series that were announced on those things sort of puts a bit of shade on the vintage collection. And then when they did really big up the whole, vintage collection fans, you're going to love this, I think they were talking about HasLab for that. That was their big announcement. Whereas people come out of that one sort of a bit underwhelmed, because all they saw was one figure and the carbon freezing chamber, which I think we can all agree is a bit of a letdown at best, compared to what we thought it could have, or what it could have been. Yeah. So I think people just expect these Fans First Fridays to be quite a large event where, to replace San Diego Comic-Con, they're just never going to be like that.
No, I don't think they can, and a lot of that, they're caught between a rock and a hard place. If you set fans' expectations to say, look, we can't reveal a huge amount, you're not going to get many people turning up to the live stream. Whereas the alternative is, it's like, come and see our live stream, we're going to reveal some stuff. Then fans get disappointed that not enough was revealed. It is a rock and a hard place. I think hopefully now people kind of have a rough idea of what to expect from those streams, and I still think they are worth turning up for, tuning in and seeing the new stuff. It's I mean, I don't know if you want to come onto it now. The carbon freezing chamber set. I did want to go into a bit more detail with that with you, maybe a bit later on.
Yeah, we'll talk. We will come on to that. We will come on to that. I just want to answer Owen Brown. So he's saying, does anyone know if you'll be able to order the 3-pack? So if it's anything like the last year's Luke Jedi Destiny pack, the usual suspects of your specialist websites will get a certain allocation. So your in-demand toys, Star Action figures, maybe Comics and Cocktails might get a few, but definitely the first two will definitely have some kind of allocation. And I remember last year we had the the exact one like this one here with the single language name pill or special action feature set there, where it's got it at the top. That is a single language. That's the one I've got. And then they later on they released Europe got their own stock as well, because you got I'm pretty sure there's like a dual language pill one out there as well.
Yeah.
So it's going to be fastest finger first. There is no doubt about it, because this thing's going to be hot. Everyone is going to want this set. There's just no doubt about it. It is a stunning set. You just got to look at the figures. Yeah. It looks amazing in the if you're an inbox collector, it looks really, really smart. And if you're somebody that's got like a clone army, I mean, these are like the icing of the cake of your 501st clone army. So everyone's going to want the set. You're going to have to be really, really quick to get it. So I don't know why I've just told you which websites are now, because it's going to be more competition for me trying to get one. But yeah, they're your usual suspects. I think it's going to drop in sometime in August. It might be September when it gets released on Hasbro Pulse as well. But sometimes the UK sites get the pre-orders up there a bit sooner. We'll just have to wait and see. But if you follow any of those shops or online stores on Facebook, they'll announce when they're going to do it, and then you just got to wait for their websites to crash as you're trying to buy it. Yeah,
that's always the way. But I mean, the other thing to bear in mind is obviously that if you're a mint in box collector, yeah, you've got to be fastest finger on the trigger for the sets. But my understanding is that all three of these will probably get released in a single carded version.
There's no doubt. They're not going to put those three figures in there and not release them. We know we're already getting fives. He's coming in the Chirrut Imwe in that wave. There's no way they're going to waste these figures for that opportunity. They'll sell like absolute hotcakes on their own single cards. There's no doubt. But the set itself, people aren't going to want to wait, because like the Luke one that came out a year ago now, isn't it? Roughly same time of year as the SDCC one, and we still haven't got. Well, Luke Stormtrooper's dropping in the States now. You've got to wait until October, November for the Luke Jedi. So you've got to wait. You might have to wait a year for the other two, but they will come eventually, of course.
And in fairness, of course, the Dr. Aphra set, which was the one before that, we still haven't got BT and 000.
No, we haven't.
From that set in single, and I don't know if they will.
No.
Who knows? But at the same time, that you can still get that pack for actually less than retail now if you shop around.
Exactly, yeah. And I mean, I've got the one with the single language, but the one with the dual or triple language, even that's, as you say, that's widely available if you look around. I just want to bring up this comment here. I don't want to sort of bring shame to him, Dan Conley. Unpopular opinion: I'm underwhelmed by the new TVC releases with high prices too. So we're going to get on to the Falcon and things like that. I think this set here, $50. I think that's standard for the Luke Jedi one was this price. It's essentially a convention exclusive. 3 figures, which would usually cost $13 each. So that's $39, and you're paying $11 more for the lovely packaging and the fact that it's exclusive. But I think that's a reasonably fair price for, especially as you say, 3 completely new, all new tooled figures. Somebody in my comments actually said to me, "Oh no, it's the same sculpt as the Wolf figure." It's not. The Wolf figures from the head down is pretty awful. Let's be frank. These 3 are on a different scale.
Yeah. And they've confirmed it in their press release as well, haven't they? That they are all new sculpts. So, definitely some good stuff to look forward to with that one, I think. It's 50 quid. It's not something to be sniffed at. But by the same token, like you say, you're getting 3 brand new figures, and it is the convention exclusive. And if you are just worried about the figures, like I say, if you're willing to wait, you can get them all individually carded for a little bit cheaper further down the road. Yeah. So it's up to you. It's up to you.
Antonio Robinson's there said, "Are they soft goods?" Now, this is the thing that I think is the only thing that lets these figures down, is that I don't think the Karmas are soft. So it's not going to be like that Arc Trooper that we got in the vintage collection. So they, like everything, they could be better, I guess. But they're certainly not as bad as the Wolf's one. They're nowhere near as bad as that. They've got a lot more detail on them.
Yeah, again, it'll be interesting to see how flexible the cameras are. I mean, if they're very rigid and you can't get them into decent poses, then that really does take a little bit of the shine off it. But I mean, some of the pictures they were showing in the actual press photography, it does look like they can get into reasonable positions. So I don't think it's going to hamper them too much.
Yeah,
but yeah, I do know what you mean. I think they're also trying to get some of the detail in there because you've got quite intricate patterns on the cameras as well. So maybe that was part of their thinking. I don't know. I still think they look fantastic as is. I've got to be honest.
Yeah, I mean the detail's fantastic, isn't it? I mean, I know somebody was saying about the Jesse helmet isn't accurate. It didn't have the visor and it didn't have the thing. And you know, what can you do? They're going to get something wrong every time, aren't they? I mean, it took them like 4 attempts to get the Luke Skywalker Jedi Knight right eventually, but eventually they got there.
Yeah.
But the helmets on them, they do look better scaled compared to what we're used to with the Phase 2 clones.
I think so, massively so. I think the other bit that if the Jesse helmet does annoy you enough, it might be something that's worth bringing up with Hasbro and letting them know about it, so that when he does come single carded, he might have the pack-in helmet just next to him instead. If that's a little easy one to throw in there, I don't know. Might be worth asking. They do, yeah. Fantastic kit, fantastic set.
Yeah. Let's have a look. Let's have another quick look at another picture of it as we go on.
Just seeing there, Jarrett Barnes. What's your favourite clone trooper, guys? My favourite is Captain Rex. I don't know. Do you have a particular favourite?
Yeah, it's got to be Rex or Cody. Cody's decent, isn't he?
Yeah, I think mine from the Clone Wars, it's Fives. He's the one that's kind of goes on for the longest. He makes the smartest decisions throughout the series. He's good character there, but absolutely Rex, I think, went on a fantastic journey through the entire series as well. So yeah, again, another reason why I'm looking forward to this set.
Yeah, so I did actually want to bring up that actually while we're talking about the 3-pack, because Captain Rex is rumored. So Yakface was on, Jason from Yakface was on a podcast a couple of days ago now, and he actually announced or leaked what the wave, and he actually said it's going to come out at the end of this year, so we could expect another wave after the Chirrut Imwe wave. And in that wave he mentioned Captain Rex, he mentioned Moff Gideon, which would be awesome.
That would be fantastic.
That would be a completely new figure, wouldn't it? I can't remember the other ones that he said, but there was some decent ones in there. It was a really, really smart wave. So, I mean, Captain Rex hopefully will use similar, they'll be able to make him from those bits, because
all being well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends on whether they're looking at going back to the one that they previewed a while back. What was it?
The Phase 1 one.
Yeah, it's coming up 8 years now where they first previewed that. Whether they go back to that one, or whether they look at using one of the newer molds or what have you, or again, whether they look at doing a sort of a hybrid between the Phase 2 armor and packing in some Phase 3 armor as well. I don't know which way they're going to go. I've just managed to find the list. Yeah, the armorer, absolutely Delvian. Beskar Mandalorian and a Darth Vader, I think, are the other ones that he confirmed.
Yeah, so the Darth Vader was a bit of a funny one, because that's 5 figures. But if you look at the wave that's coming out with Leia next year, that's got 5 figures in it as well. Because I think you can order that on Dorkside Toys as like a, the ordering the wave, but only one of the figures is announced. The Leia Bespin. So this wave apparently at the end of the year, early next year. Yeah, so the Darth Vader's a weird one. I mean, it could be a Rogue One I'm thinking, possibly. Maybe even a Clone Wars 7th season. Who knows?
Potentially. I mean, it goes back to something that Hasbro have always done. You're always going to get Boba Fett in the line. You're always going to get Darth Vader in the line. They are your staples. Darth Vader is an image that you can show to anybody in the world, and people go, Star Wars, Darth Vader. I know exactly who that is. So yeah, it makes perfect sense that you're going to get him coming around again. I don't think we necessarily need another one as collectors, but yeah, maybe on a Rogue One card, I think that would just give us something a bit different to look at. Unless, of course, they're calling it Darth Vader, but it's that Anakin Skywalker as he's turning to Darth Vader.
Which we've had before, haven't we? But
yeah.
But yeah, so that wave sounds, amazing, doesn't it? To have the armor and Moff Gideon. Yeah, 2 big ones from that show.
Yeah, absolutely.
That'd be awesome. And obviously the Captain Rex to go with these 3 guys. That's your 501st pretty much done.
That's certainly the main ones. So don't worry, they'll find plenty more of those clones to keep that clone trooper shelf busy for you, Tim. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, again, if you refer back to the series, there's all sorts in there from the 501st that they haven't done. So yeah, there's plenty for that to keep on going if people buy it, if it proves to be popular.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I just want to quickly move on to something from the Black Series that was released on the same day, which is the Wampa. So let me just get the picture up for it. Let's have a look. So what's your thoughts about this? Because I don't mind. Oh man, the vintage style packaging. I mean, that box will be quite big, won't it?
It should be a decent size, yeah.
And I don't know. I just think like the Black Series, Black Series fans out there. This isn't me having a go at the Black Series. I do collect some of those as well, and I do like them. And I've got got a lot of the 40th anniversary carded ones because it's a vintage style card, and I'm a sucker for anything like that. But this is going into the realms of essentially almost turning in the Black Series into a larger scale of the vintage collection, because you're essentially replicating all the Kenner boxes and stuff.
Yeah.
What do you think? I mean, I'm hoping, is it a one-off, one every year or something?
Look, I'm not sure. I mean, my initial thoughts when I saw that image, I completely skipped over the Black Series bit and thought, brilliant, we're ticking off another one of those vintage items in the 3.75 scale.
Exactly.
And then you take the closer look and you go, it's Black Series, and I just go, fair enough, it's not for me. I'm with you, to be honest. I don't think I don't want to see too many of the Black Series things in the Kenner inspired packaging. I think we had that problem a couple of years ago when the Black Series was in both 3.75 and 6-inch scale. And so when people were talking about the Black Series, you'd have to go, well, which one? And we're getting dangerously close to that again when you're looking at packaging like this and you're going, oh, the vintage one. Well, do you mean 3.75 or do you mean 6-inch? It becomes much more a pain in the backside to do eBay searches, all that sort of stuff. But obviously they know that nostalgia sells. It's part of the hook. It may be part of a bit of a push to actually guide us collectors that are at the smaller scale towards that 6-inch with the nostalgia hook. I mean, like you say, you're quite tempted to pick up a lot of the.
Well, I'm tempted by that box, 100%, but I'd much rather it be the 3.75-inch scale, just for a couple of reasons, really. Because obviously the Wampa then would fit in with my other figures, but also the box isn't. I'm running out of space. I mean, if you're having Black Series boxes everywhere, they're just, they're massive, aren't they? That will be a big box, I think, to fit that Wampa in it.
Yeah, I'd have thought so.
So yeah, I mean, I'm pleased they've done something like that, especially for the Black Series collectors, because it is an awesome looking item, and the Wampa itself looks better than the other one. It's just a repaint, I think, but it looks better. But at the same time, that is like one of the biggest holes in the vintage collection for me. We've got the Tauntaun. We need that. We've been talking about that for ages, haven't we? We need one of them. So,
oh, absolutely.
I'm not going to go as far as saying it's a kick in the teeth in the vintage collection, because obviously I'm sure they'll come round to it eventually. I think remember you talking to me about the Force Link one, and I hadn't actually got it at the time because I looked at the box and I thought it's not ready for me. But then you showed me it on screen, didn't you? All moving around, and I thought, right, well, I've got to get one of those because it is that's a decent Wampa. So
yeah. There's a lot of articulation in that one, which you wouldn't necessarily expect.
No.
I don't know. I'd happily see that released in a vintage packaging. I don't know how the rest of the community feels about that, because it isn't as articulated as the Black Series one is, for example. And I know there was a lot of outcry when Revan was going to be released in the vintage collection, but it was just the 30th anniversary mold. So I don't know. Like I say, I'd be perfectly happy to see that in a vintage box, and you just get that box nicely on the shelves. I've still got the one that's out of the package, and I absolutely love it. It's a cracking figure.
Yeah.
How about yourself? How do you feel about it? Would you put it in a vintage box?
Yeah, I think it's good. Yeah, I think that maybe do something a bit better with the paintwork, possibly, but I think it looks good as it is. I love the way it moves. I think it moves really, really like the one. The articulation that they've given it is decent. Yeah. I would probably get rid of the arm thing. Where that comes off and it's just a red ring, that could be improved. I don't think you necessarily need the arm to come off with a bit of blood there. I think that's just more of a gimmick, a toy. But just from a display point of view, just having him like that would be fine.
Yeah. I think that's one of the nice things about that sculpt, actually, is that the fact that the arm does come off doesn't hurt the toy. Yes, you get a bit more articulation out of the one arm, but the other one you can still do a decent grabbing motion with it. And I think so long as a gimmick is well hidden, I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah. Oh, I'm looking at the chat here. I think I'm going to have to ban a few people for spamming. Just kidding. Right, so on to the next thing that got released or announced that day, which is this. So this is a pass for me. I'm not going to try and get this. I think when the Luke comes out in a single box with that green, with the green side, yeah, I will probably pick that one up, but I won't. I'm not gonna pick up the box again. It just won't fit in my collection.
No, it's a quite sizable unit, the box that goes with it, by the looks of things. How do you feel about the helmets that they've got on there? Do you think that the sculpt works, or?
I think the Luke one looks all right. I think the Leia figure looks a little bit animated style. She doesn't. I don't know. There's something about it. Maybe it's the legs or something. It doesn't look. It almost looks a bit like Galaxy's Adventures, like blown up into a 6-inch figure a little bit. The Luke one there, he looks great. I think, in that, especially in that pose, deflecting the lightsaber bolts.
Yeah, I think I'm much like yourself. I'll certainly be taking a closer look at the Luke one when he comes single packaged. I'm not 100% sure about the helmets. Again, I think I need to see them up close. They look a little bit rounded on top, which I don't think they were for the film. They seem to be a bit more boxy.
Right.
And I'm not certain about the Luke head sculpt on that one as well.
Really? Let's have a look. Let me get a picture of it. Let's see if I can find that one.
Yeah, because I think the poncho, I think with a little bit of work, you can sort of water it down and sculpt it into the right sort of shape for what's going on. But yeah, it's like I said, I'm not, and again, I haven't had a proper close-up look at at the head sculpt itself, but I'm just not certain about it yet.
I think it looks better with the helmet on than it. Looking at that picture there, with it, than it does with it off.
Yeah.
But yeah,
because again, that was one of my favourite figures as a kid, the Kenner one.
Well, the Luke one, where the
with
helmet didn't come
all
off
the
at all.
gear. Yeah, well, yeah, I solved that problem. But no, I loved the fact that it came with a poncho. It came with a nice belt. It looked like a cool figure to go on the shelf.
Oh yeah,
Bit of a shame that the helmet didn't come off. But
well, it's a bit weird one, wasn't it? Because the Leia one did. So
yeah,
it was a bit strange.
Yeah.
That I always thought that.
Yeah, especially as the card backs were the other way around. You had Leia with her helmet off, and in the card back she had it on, and Luke's helmet was off on the picture, but of course firmly attached to his head on the figure itself. So a bit of an odd one.
Yeah, I mean, as I say, I'll definitely pick up the Luke single boxed. I do like the look of the Ewok as well, but I've got a feeling he might be left as the exclusive part of this set. They might bring him out eventually. But I could imagine them packing Han, Leia, Luke all in single boxes. I mean, that might have even been confirmed already, I think, by Yakface. I think it has in one
Certainly
of the waves next year. Yeah.
But again, if you're doing Endor Han, he needs to have his trench coat. There's no two ways about it. So it's a little bit surprising that it's not included within this set. It's an odd one. Like I say, I think for the price point, 109. Is it this one?
I think so.
I think it's it's going to be a pass for me on that.
Yeah, I'm not going to attempt to get it. I mean, I remember when the Empire Strikes Back one came out, the one that opens out, and you get the Minoc. And you had Luke, Han, and Leia inside, and that everyone was going mad for that. Oh, I must get that, and I did manage to get it. And then when I got it, it's like I'm not as happy with it as I was when I saw it on the screen. And then it turned up in the Entertainer for like £25 or whatever. So it couldn't have been that popular, you know. And also they, the Han Solo Bespin came out quite quickly, I think, on a single box.
Yeah,
so,
certainly
and
did.
So did the Leia. So I know you get some extra bits in that pack, and obviously you get the Minoc as well. But I think I sold mine in the end.
Yeah, and it's one of them. It's quite often the way. I mean, there are some of the exclusive sets where you get some really good stuff with them. I think like the Thrawn sets, there was a load of cool little bits and pieces that you couldn't get elsewhere. That's definitely worth hanging on to. Some of them, I kind of feel like if you're buying the exclusive, you should have all the gear in there. That's what you're paying for, is the little extra bits and pieces that you get in that set if it's the exclusive that you're going for. It shouldn't be a case that when the single carded one or single package one comes out later, it's missing half the stuff.
Yeah.
Or it's got all the extra stuff, that you haven't paid for up front. So yeah, it's just a personal thing with us for me.
Yeah. And apparently not everything that's in these photos is there, because I think the Leia and Han do have the ponchos. I think that's
okay.
I'm not sure if that's been confirmed, but I'm pretty sure that might be the case. It'd be a bit weird if they didn't, wouldn't it? I think.
Well, I'd certainly have thought so. Yeah. I do think, like I say, Han on Endor is not the same without his trench coat.
Thanks, Greedo, mate. Thanks for tuning in. Okay, so why don't we move on to the next day of reveals and onto this? So a lot of,
I was going to say,
yeah. Sorry, I mean, when I did my, a lot of the comments in my video have been about the price to start with. Now, just putting it out there, I don't decide the prices. I don't decide the prices. It is expensive. It's expensive, man. It really is expensive. I mean, how much was you'll know how much was the Legacy one over here when that first came out?
Yeah, about 150 when it first came out.
150. So you're looking at more than double the price. Well, when you take the exchange rate, probably double the price.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. When it came out in the US, I think they basically just switched the dollar sign for a pound sign and charged us the same amount. Right. It's pretty much the way it's been for certainly as long as I've been collecting. if not occasionally, we get a little bit more added onto the top of that, regardless of whatever the exchange rate was. So yeah, about $150, 150 quid when it first came out. So yeah, like you say, more than doubled.
So it's double the price. So I think the main thing is with this is that if you haven't got a Legacy Falcon or the re-released Vintage Collection one, which is the same thing inside the box, just a different box, isn't it? Is it not?
Yep, exactly the same.
Then you know you're going to want one of these because you haven't, you know, everyone should have one of those Falcons. I don't have one of those Falcons. I have my Vintage Falcon, and when I buy this new Falcon, I probably won't have anywhere to put it at first. But I still want it, and the box art's lovely. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, it's based around a Disney thing." You know, a lot of the comments again in the video is like, "No, it's Disney crap," all this sort of thing. You know, I'm not going to have a go at them for that. I mean, at the end of the day, they're trying to push that. The best thing about it is that they're catering for both people. They realise that if they had just put that out with the rectangular dish and all new sounds for Smuggler's Run and Porg noises and all that stuff, people would have had a fit. They would have gone mad, and it wouldn't have sold. Basically, it would have sold to a handful of people. So the best thing that they've done is they've given you the round dish as well, and they've kept all the, I'm not sure if they kept all of the sounds, because there's the Legacy one got some Empire Strikes Back sounds. I think the box on this one says it has a New Hope sounds, but it could be that they've just kept original trilogy sounds. Do you know what I mean? Yeah,
they might have made a switch to that. Nobody's going to know until we've got that in hand, as it were. I mean, for me, there's a couple of things at play here. One is I firmly believe that this was meant to be a Galaxy's Edge exclusive to begin with.
100%. Yeah.
With everything that's going on, obviously the park's closed. Nobody's going to be buying this, and they can't afford. Well, I say they can't afford. They don't really want it sat in a warehouse somewhere gathering dust until Galaxy's Edge is open again. They can start selling it. So that's why you've got the partnership with Target to get this out there. They've opened it up and made it available over here as well. It's the sort of size that they can ship over. So I think that's why we've got it at that. The other factor is, yes, 400 is a big chunk of money. It's also the fact that this is going to be on retail shelves at some point in Targets across America. It won't last long at that price. It will drop in price. And I think there'll be some that will be bought up for the 400. All of the pre-orders that I've seen have sold out. Yes, there are some more going live, but all of the pre-orders went initially. Yeah. So it clearly proved popular at the £400 price, $400 price. Yeah. Yep. So it's clearly popular, and people are clearly happy to pay that price for it.
Yeah. Unless there's scalpers at play, which there probably is. There's a good amount of people that they've seen how much the Legacy Falcon goes for, and they're thinking, right, I can make a quick buck on this. And they're already like $1,000 on eBay. I mean, I can't imagine anyone actually paying that. And if you do pay that, then you're a fool, basically, and you're feeding the scalpers because they'll stick them on for that. And if someone grabs them for that money, then that feeds that whole scalping industry, doesn't it? Because people are willing to pay it. At the end of the day, this will be mass produced, I think, because as you say, it's a park exclusive. And I don't know if anyone in the chat's been to Disneyland. I've only been to Galaxy's Edge once, but there is a shop on every single corner. There is gift shops everywhere, and every single gift shop you go in, there is every Star Wars thing you can possibly want. They never run out. There's just packed in there. Like, there are thousands of the Sandcrawler, which is supposed to be a Disney thing there. They had all of the Black Series 3 packs, which everyone was clambering for over here because we haven't got a Disney park. There was just boxes and boxes and boxes of them. Yeah. And not just in the park as well. You go to Disney Springs. There's a Star Wars shop at Disney Springs, and that had them all as well. So you could just imagine you walk into all the shops and that thing will be sitting there for people to buy. But of course, you've got to go to the park then to get it. So, which is a bit annoying.
That's it. I mean, thankfully, at least with this, it is being made available overseas to those who haven't aren't able to go to the park, and buy a second plane chair for the Falcon to sit next to them on the way back. I think, obviously Star Action, ID Toys, Comics and Cocktails, and Zavi as well over here have made it available. Forbidden Planet, I think, as well. So clearly a decent chunk of stock is coming over this way. So yeah, it is such a great toy. It is fantastic.
Yeah. Michael McGregor, I'm just going to throw his comment up here. It costs way too much, but I'm so glad anyone who doesn't have it can get it. And I think that's exactly the point. No one here decides the price point, and we can't do anything about the price point. And people say, "Oh, if you keep buying it, then they'll just keep taking the mick," and because they know you'll buy it for any price. But as you just said, it's an amazing toy or collectible or whatever, and it's something that you'd want in your collection. And I've been looking at one on eBay for years now, and I was never prepared to pay £450-500 for a Legacy Falcon. I may have paid somewhere near that for the vintage collection one in the vintage style box, and that's what disappoints me a little bit about this one, is that I was hoping that it would be like a vintage box, maybe Empire Strikes Back or something. But saying that, this box does look great. If you don't like Galaxy's Edge and you don't like Disney, then you're not going to like it. But there's no denying that the artwork on the box looks great. Comes with the 2-packed figures, doesn't it? Again, so Chewie, I think he's got a new head, I believe.
Looks to be.
Let's just get that image up. And the Hondo figure's coming out in its own on a single card, so you don't need to, spend $400 to get a figure, essentially.
Yeah. And don't forget, you get all those porgs as well. So
bonus. Bonus.
Yeah.
I can do without the porgs. Only one, if you're listening, if you're still there, I've sent you the link. And Mike, I'll send you in a short while as well. Yeah, we'll gradually get people in, change the stream up a bit, get some new faces in and what have you, keep everyone interested. 158 people watching, actually, which I think is a record for one of my streams. So thank you all very much, guys, for tuning in. I do appreciate it. We're just people talking Star Wars and Star Wars toys. Essentially, we're all here for the same thing. We all love it. So I will just go through the chat a little bit, see if I can find any comments that we want to put up.
Yeah. I mean, like I say, the Falcon is a fantastic toy. I've had mine for a couple of years now, and it's an amazing centerpiece. It's a great display piece. I think you'd be really chuffed when you do get yours, mate. Yeah,
I mean, I'm looking forward to it, I must admit. I was one of the lucky ones. I went on to, I think I got mine from Comics and Cocktails, which is actually the cheapest out of the 3 retailers that had them over here, $349.99. It's more than I want to spend, believe me. But as I say, secondary market for a mint in box Legacy one was a lot more than that. Harry's put, it's almost a HasLab project in itself. Yeah, for the size, but a lot of people were actually saying in my video about HasLab that they wanted a even bigger Millennium Falcon. And, I mean, where are you going to put it? At least the barge is like long and thin,
That's exactly the point. Yeah,
the Falcon's going to be absolutely huge. So
it's and I mean it's an odd one with the HasLab, because for every sale barge that they sold, they were guaranteed to get the full amount of money for that item. There was no danger of any of those going on clearance and them having to make their money back from that and factor that into the cost. Every single one of those barges, they get the full amount from.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, they probably have to allow for like some defect ones that, send out some replacements and replacement yak faces and that. But exactly what you're saying. Virtually the whole bit, anything over the 5,000 is an absolute bonus for them, isn't it?
Exactly.
So hopefully the next HasLab will be something really, really good. There's a question for you there, Chris.
Right. What's my favourite Star Wars figure? Yeah. just a couple of thousand to choose from. I don't know. There's a couple. One of my absolute favourites was the Gamorrean Guard from the Vintage Collection. I think the amount of posability they managed to get into it, they really captured the character within the sculpt on that one. It's a cracking figure. That really do like that one.
Yeah, one of my favourites, must admit.
And of course, it's on a beautiful card back as well. And it's one of those that you got the re-release, and I think I haven't seen too many of them hanging around either. So even the re-release has sold through quite well. So it seems to be a very popular figure out there. Outside of that, I don't know. I really like the Luke Jedi that's coming out, single carded later in the year. From the that's the one from the San Diego set from last year as well.
Stunning figure.
Yeah,
amazing.
But again, a lot of it comes back down to the fact that because the Vintage Collection, the 3.75 scale is my scale. It always has been. It's not necessarily just one figure, but it's the world that you can build with all of the figures.
Yeah.
So even if you've got, some dioramas, if you build them correctly in the right way, you can still hide some of the beefy Power of the Force 2 figures at the back, and it just adds to the flavour of the diorama without it overpowering and becoming completely obvious that you've got a beautifully super articulated one at the front and a beefy 5 POA figure at the back.
Yeah, I try not to do that, but yeah, I understand why you would. If you want to have that whole like cantina, for example. Exactly. I'm just going to bring in Nick, as long as he doesn't show his LFC badge, because we don't want people to leave the stream. Here he is. How you doing, mate? You all right?
I knew you'd seen that because it says here. Oh, it says everyone can see and hear me. Before it just said your host can see you. Yeah, sorry about that, Tim. I got the link and then I was just sat off stage or whatever. I wasn't even in the green room. You know what I mean? I had to press enter the whatever, but I'm here now. Thanks for having me.
All right?
Yeah, I'm all right, man.
So we'll start off by asking your thoughts on the Falcon then, because I saw you in the chat there saying, "Why am I in on this chat? You're talking about the Falcon." So what's your opinions on it?
Yeah, I just want to talk about that more than anything. Well, I got that out, as you can see. I just thought I'd put that out there. I've got one now.
The stage is yours, my friend. You talk. You tell us what you think.
Well, I've got one now, and I don't regret it. I mean, I got it, and then I thought to myself, "Why am I doing this? Because I've got one already, and it's a lot of money." But at the end of the day, I really want to see how good it is compared to this one here. And the thing is, the reason I got it was because I was online. I was flipping around. It was 2 o'clock in the morning, and I saw some guy post a link on Facebook saying, they're live on Zavi now, and it was the post was 15 minutes ago. So I thought, oh my god, I better get on there. And I thought it was a situation with the UK sellers. There was only like going to be 20 whatever each. So I just ordered one, and then straight after I was actually contemplating cancelling it in the morning because I thought, oh my god, do I need 2? But actually now I can't wait to get it. I really can't wait to get it.
Was it free shipping?
No, the shipping's like £1.99. So
was that it? Oh right.
That's not too bad.
Because obviously Zavi have got the HasLab, haven't they? They've got the Sentinel, and there's rumours that they're going to be doing the Star Wars HasLab as their like partner. So
yeah, well, that made me feel a lot more confident about that. I was going to say Biker Scout. I saw him say in the comments, what did he say? Avoid Zavi or whatever. But I don't know. I actually put a little worry on Facebook, and I said, is it going to be all right? Because everyone's saying, oh, yeah, it'll never come and all this. And then actually someone, Zavi, their actual Facebook said, hi, Nick, if you've got any questions, give us a message. Yada, yada.
They have had issues before with pre-orders and actually coming through with pre-orders. But so we'll carry on with the Falcon in a minute. I just want to go for Bosk. Would you like to see a General Pride in 3? He's one of the characters from the sequel trilogy that I would like, and I think we need. I think is possibly one of the best characters from the final film, and in my opinion, he should have been the bad guy all the way through it instead of that weird younger guy who was a bit of more of like a comic book villain, really. So that's What about you guys? General Pride?
Oh yeah.
Go on, Nick.
Sorry. Oh, cheers. Thanks, Chris. No, yeah, man, he's awesome. Him, isn't he? I mean, that's the guy they needed. Yeah, I don't know, either from the beginning or maybe in the second film. Awesome. I love the way that shot when he says, "What's he say? Yes, Supreme Leader." You know, tense, isn't he?
Yeah.
Awesome.
And when he gets taken out as well on the bridge, I think that's like for Star Wars, that was quite bad, you know.
Yeah. Oh, you mean when he's running around?
Well, he runs towards the glass, doesn't he? And it just basically blows him out at the front, you know. For a Star Wars film, I thought that was quite.
Definitely. He'd be an awesome card, if anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think you both touched on it. He was a good villain for the series, which I don't think Hux quite managed. The fact that Snoke literally wipes the floor with him in The Last Jedi, it completely belittles the villain, which didn't work for me.
Kylo does as well straight afterwards, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He wipes the floor with him as well. He just becomes a joke, doesn't he?
Exactly. And I think you need... What always worked in Star Wars is that you had your big bads, your Emperor and your Darth Vader, but those underneath them still feared them, and you still had competent, for the most part, competent leaders. Yeah. General Veers, for example, Admiral Piet. Yeah, what's his name? Admiral Ozzel, obviously, was a bit cocky, but he wasn't just running around behaving like a child.
No,
he was still. We all knew. We've all had a boss like Admiral Ozzel at some point in our careers, I'm sure.
But I don't want to get too much onto the sequel trilogy, but just one last point about Hux. I mean, in the first film, he's like standing there like Hitler, isn't he? Screaming, and like he's almost believable at that point that he is like he is like second in command to Snoke or whoever. And because in the original Star Wars, the men around the table, they're the decision makers, and it's almost like Vader's like the enforcer, isn't he? He's like the muscle, if you like.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I sort of had Kylo, and there's always that sort of power struggle between the two of them. But from the second film onwards, they just made Hux a complete, absolute joke. So he just lost all credibility for me.
I hated that first scene anyway with the pranking, but his facial expressions and everything, Hux.
Yeah.
It's really lost it completely. He was a completely different character almost, you know?
Yeah.
Silly.
We'll get off that topic, because otherwise we'll lose some people from the stream.
Moving on, and now for something completely different.
Absolutely, yeah. But so go back to the Falcon. So you're obviously, I know, because I knew you were disappointed, Nick, when you were working at the time. I think when the pre-order dropped and you'd missed out, and then you felt that well, actually it didn't really matter because I have got one. And then obviously when it came to the point where you could get one again, you've bitten the bullet. So you're obviously happy with it.
Yeah, I want to stress as well, I'm one of these people who don't have an issue with the packaging. I love Disney parks and all of that. So the whole theme or whatever they've gone for, I don't find that offensive. I know that would be an issue. Also, you've got the classic chase going around it. So I really like it, so I will definitely be opening it. Well, that's the thing. That was what I was wrestling with. I thought, I know I want to open it. I've already got one open. But, I'll do something with both of them,
The box does look great. You've got the big Kenner logo on the side there. Massive Star Wars logo. I mean, if you looked at it from the side box there, you wouldn't even know it's Galaxy's Edge, apart from Hondo in the escape pod. But yeah,
you're talking about the soundboards before. There's going to be 2, isn't there?
Yeah, they're keeping A New Hope, and they're putting some Smuggler's Run stuff in it.
Right. Well, that'll be good.
I mean, you never know. Nick, you could just box up your existing one, stick it on eBay, make some of your money back that way.
Yeah.
See how it goes.
Harry said, "Look, I need an acrylic case." That's going to be one expensive acrylic case, mate. I'll tell you, that'll be almost as expensive as the Falcon.
Yeah.
I remember when I was looking into getting my barge box, like a. Well, no, sorry, not an acrylic case for the box of the barge, because that would just be ridiculous, but an acrylic thing for the barge to have it so it doesn't get dusty, because the sails get a bit dusty, you know, just to keep it nice, and maybe have the skiff in front of it, maybe put some sand down or whatever, just to get that scene going. But to get one of those like acrylic or glass cabinets that they might have in a shop or something, like in maybe in like the Lego store or something, where they've got the big Hogwarts castle on display or something. I found a company that will make them. They make like plinths and stuff for shops, and they wanted like 380 quid plus £45 delivery or something.
Oh, my neck.
I was like, I think I'll pass on that.
Yeah,
which is a bit of a shame because it would have looked quite nice.
There was actually an exhibition doing the rounds in the UK, and it was all about the actual original Kenner line. I went to see it in Worcester, but I know it's been Leicester, also all across the country. And one of the centerpieces that they had was the Hasbro barge populated with all of the Kenner figures on it, and they had it on big display stand in the middle with a huge case round it, Sarlacc pit on the bottom, and one of the vintage skiffs next to it. Looked amazing, absolutely stunning.
That's the company I got in touch with to ask where they got the box made, and then they put me in touch with this company, and they said, "Oh, we got it from these guys." So then when I asked them guys for something similar and got quoted the price, I was like, "Yeah, no thanks."
Yeah, it does look good though.
Sorry to backtrack, fellas. I thought something before. You know, when you talk about the price, and that's obviously been an issue for a lot of people. With myself, it sounds crazy, this, but I don't want to say it sounded cheap. But for me, looking at what I paid for this on the secondary market, and then it seemed, well, I know it's gone up so much, I know, but to me, it seemed affordable, if that makes sense, or decent when you compare it to scalper prices. Plus, you know, it's new and it's updated and everything.
Yeah,
but that's crazy. They're trying to match.
So you're on that side of the scale, and then you've got Lamar here, who says he paid $75 on clearance for his Legacy Falcon. Yeah. So the people that got theirs cheap, they're obviously going to think it's a rip-off. The people that haven't got the Legacy Falcon at all are going to think it's expensive, but I need it. And then there's people like yourself, Nick, who have wanted something so bad that they've had to go to the secondary market and they've had to pay the premium price to get it. So when something new comes out that's a bit less than you paid, you're like, well, I paid X for that, so this is going to be okay for me. It depends where you are and you're collecting and what have you. You know, I mean, all the people that got it back in the day for, as you say, $75, then congratulations, that's flipping awesome.
Yeah, and what a piece it is. I mean, that's the one thing you guarantee there. If they're selling it in the parks or wherever, it's awesome. Because I think when I was at Disney last summer, looking at the merchandise, they had that Solo Falcon in there, which is hardly. I mean, it's a great looking version of the Falcon, but nowhere near as good as this in spec or whatever, features.
So Colin Hobbs is saying, will Hondo and Chewie be on vintage cars like Han and Ree? So it's not confirmed, but I would doubt it. That's all I'd say. I think Hondo's coming out on a vintage card anyway, and I think maybe the way the box is and the Falcon and all the extra bits that you need in there, maybe there's not the room for the two cards.
Well, they actually did a call out on the Jabba's Palace box, didn't they? That it said you get these carded figures in this box to highlight that. I haven't seen any of that anywhere on the packaging shots. So I agree with you there.
It certainly wasn't in the press release. So, Shakes Clones, how much of that Falcon price do you reckon is retail markup, like what the barge would have been at retail? The thing is, what you were saying, Chris, about this being originally for Galaxy's Edge, anything for Galaxy's Edge is going to be more expensive than it should be because it's a theme park. You know, even a Coca-Cola or a lollipop is more expensive than it should be. You just get absolutely stung, but you just get wrapped up in it while you're there, don't you? You know, really, you've saved your money. You know it's going to be expensive, and you go there and you have a good time, and you try not to worry about the money you're spending. Basically, that's how I found it anyway. But I don't think you can necessarily go to one of these places on the cheap, can you?
No, absolutely not. It's you go there with your wallet open, basically, don't you? And that's it.
As I said, there's shops on every. You know, you walk down the street, there's just gift shop, gift shop, gift shop. You know, place to get a drink, restaurant, gift shop, ride. You come off the ride, and when you come out of the ride, you go through a gift shop that's related to that ride and all that kind of stuff. you know, they're not silly. They know what they're doing. It's just an absolute money machine. I mean, myself and my wife, while we're there, we just sat there looking at everyone, and we just said the amount of money that just passes through this one park, and that's just Hollywood Studios. Then you've got like 7 other parks as well, or whatever. The parking is like $50 or whatever, and you've got 250,000 cars, or it's just mind-boggling.
I just want to quickly go back to the display options. Martin Ross Killy suggested get a fish tank.
I did look into that, but to get a big enough fish tank for the barge, you'll be surprised because it's quite long. To get a big enough one and turn it upside down, it was actually I did investigate that. I did all I could.
Yeah. Oh man.
Here's a question from Harry. I'm about to sell my Legacy Falcon in great condition, and all that's missing is the Dijaric pieces and missiles, which is a common thing, isn't it? How much would be a sellable price? Got the original box too. So
How much do those pieces? How much do people charge for them loose? You know, the pieces. I put mine away. I stashed mine in the smuggling cargo, whatever you call it, because I don't want to lose mine. But
I've seen them go for 50 quid.
Yeah,
just the Jarek pieces. Yeah.
God.
Yeah. To be fair, mate, actually, if you are getting the Smuggler's Run Falcon, selling off your other one piece by piece, you probably make more than your money back on that.
Spare parts. Yeah.
We don't condone that, Chris. We don't condone that.
No. Are the pieces blue? I think I saw a picture of this new Falcon. The ones here, I think they're orange.
Orange, yeah.
But are they blue on this new one?
I'm not sure. Let's see if I can find a picture of the inside.
Yeah.
We'll have a look.
Yeah. But
might have been on the animated picture, not the actual photo. So,
I mean, to answer your question, Harry, it's a tough one. On a good day, you might get if it's with the box, maybe 300, maybe on a really good day. But I think you're probably looking closer to 250 if it's all in good working order. You've got all the legs, all the smuggling compartments, the the escape pods that goes with it, the radar dish, the training ball, all the bits and pieces. If it's just the missiles and the Dijaric pieces, maybe it won't take too much off it. But again, those are the bits that people kind of go,
yeah,
it's going to cost me a fortune to get those further down the road anyway.
I think, unfortunately, Harry, I know you're not going to like to hear this, but it's like missing the boat a little bit. If you'd sold it 2 months ago, before anyone knew this was coming out, then you would have got more for it. But now this one's coming out, I think the value of yours goes down slightly. I might be wrong. I mean, the best thing to do is check eBay, isn't it, and see what the most recent ones that have sold have gone for.
Potentially. I mean, the other thing to bear in mind is that not every collector out there is like every one of the wonderful viewers that we have today here joining in the chat and what have you, and are aware that this is even going to be released. So they just rely on eBay to actually get their stuff. So you never know. You might get lucky on that one.
Yeah. Daniel Chart. Hi there, mate. How you doing? Daniel makes really good dioramas and stuff. You should check out his channel. For me, there's not enough difference between the Legacy Falcon and the Smuggler's Run Falcon to warrant the massive price hike. Glad I've got the Legacy. So this is anyone that's got one, apart from Nick, because he wants both. He's just greedy. Anyone that's got one tends to just think that this is a rip-off. And there is no two ways about it. It is overpriced. It is. But I think we've gone through why we think that is. It's a convention exclusive, essentially. There's just different ways to get it now.
But let's clarify something here, because I don't do any Star Wars Lego, but don't they charge ridiculous prices for the Falcons in that? Or at least in the secondary market they are. No.
The Millennium Falcon, the latest one, is £700.
Gee, well, there you go. Look at that. I mean, what brand new from Lego?
No, $700, $600. I think it's £600. Excuse me.
From Lego or secondary market?
No, straight.
Well, there you go. That's insane. I mean, again, measured for things like that. You know,
I think it's got like 7,000 pieces or something like that, but then it's highly detailed. I mean, it's no doubt it's a great ship. I mean, I remember I had the first UCS Falcon, which is pretty much the same build but without so much detail, and I bought that for $399 back in 2007 in the 30th anniversary. So that's 400 quid for a Lego set. So would you rather have a Lego set? Would you rather have a Legacy Falcon with all the lights and the sounds and things like that? There's no doubt it's too expensive, but as I say, we don't decide the prices, and ultimately it'll be down to the fans who buy it whether they think it's, you know, I think it's too expensive, but I've still pre-ordered one because I haven't got one. So,
I mean, for me, I think what I was hoping when we started hearing the rumblings of a new Falcon coming out, or a Falcon coming out of some sorts, it's kind of what Fetmatic there's highlighting, that Hasbro should have gone with the Solo Falcon, but bigger and better, because the Force Link one was a massive letdown as far as the Falcon goes. So I was kind of hoping that they'd go down that route, mainly because I already have the Legacy Falcon. So it is an odd one for that. I mean, this release doesn't overly excite me because I've already got one, but fully appreciate for anyone who hasn't got it, it's a great chance to get a good piece into their collection. And it looks like it's got a nicer paint job as well.
Yeah, it's definitely, the weathering's definitely been improved.
You can see that grey wash all over it, can't you?
Yeah. Going back to what you just said there about the Solo Falcon, do you not think that would be a bit of a risk? I mean, I don't mind the Solo film. I quite like the Solo film. It's an enjoyable watch. I like the design of the Falcon. I love it. But is it a bit of a risk? Is there a lot of haters out there that would, you know, if Hasbro brought out that Solo Falcon, you'd get a load of people going nuts, going, just bring the original trilogy one out, you know?
Yeah. You absolutely
they can't
would.
win on that, you know? Yeah,
you're absolutely right. You would get a load of people that still want this version, as has been proven by all of the pre-orders selling out. It clearly was, as far as Hasbro are concerned, the right thing to do. I loved Solo. I thought it was a cracking film, really good fun, not too heavy, just what I needed immediately after what had just come before. So yeah, I'd love to see a better version of that Millennium Falcon. But
just for
again,
the interior,
it is a
wasn't
risk.
it, Chris? Sorry, Chris, I was talking over it. I didn't realize the interior of that ship was awesome, and you got a tiny little taster of that within the cockpit of that. But it was only a single figure cockpit anyway. You know, the Force Link thing, whatever it was. But yeah, if we're talking about a legacy sized Solo Falcon, I've always wanted that. But I think what you're saying, Tim, as well, is it's a bit. You could put off a lot of people with that. At least with this, you get the best of both worlds, don't you?
You definitely get an element of the fans that just hate Solo because they hate Disney.
Or Disney Star Wars, yeah.
They hate Disney Star Wars. You know, they're probably fine with Rogue One, and they're probably fine with the Mandalorian. The Solo film, as we've talked about lots of times before, it suffered because of The Last Jedi, the fallout from it. You know, the hatred for that film just felt, you know, moved on to Solo, and Solo is a big risk for them to do anyway, because to get anyone playing Han Solo other than Harrison Ford's a big risk. But I'm with Chris. I enjoyed it. I think any Star Wars film that's got Chewie in it, apart from The Last Jedi, is a decent film. Chewie Star Wars for me. That's one thing the Phantom Menace missed for me, was Chewie or a Wookiee. You know, although I love the Phantom Menace as well. So.
Instead, you got other characters like Mike Potts are showing. Goodness. I just thought they shouldn't have been in it, really. I mean, R2 maybe, but you can't have one without the other, maybe. But I don't know. 3PO was a bit of a rubbish in that film. But anyway, I was going to say about Solo as well. Suffered because it came so soon after, as well. It came in May, didn't it? So it was only a few months after the previous. But maybe if they left it till the Christmas, so they would have had a film every 12 months. The previous, The Last Jedi would have been a little bit more of a distant thing, and it just, I don't know, man. They didn't allow for the toxic atmosphere to disappear. Did they? I thought I think they wanted to quickly smash it out of the way, but it didn't work.
No. It's a shame because Solo. I enjoyed Solo. I thought it was good.
Yeah, I mean, for me, there was all sorts of bits and pieces with Solo. I think a lot of it was trying to see how little effort they can put into the marketing of a film, just with the fact that it's got the name Star Wars on it, and see what they can get away with that. You're absolutely right. The Last Jedi played a massive part. It was moved to the May slot so it didn't clash with Mary Poppins. Not entirely convinced that the two are on the same viewer list. But I don't know. Like I said, there was a lot going against Solo. The change of directors, obviously. But I still enjoyed it. I still thought it was a great, fun film. And that's one of the most important things for me about Star Wars is fun. You need to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And it gets better. I think Solo, it gets better as well, better and better. Whereas, like, say, just if I could just say that Rogue One, right, blew me away in the cinema, and I still like it now, but Solo is just a fun one, like you say, and you can just enjoy it again and again.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's one of the reasons. There's lots of reasons, but that's one of the reasons why I don't like The Last Jedi and I can't watch The Last Jedi, because I don't have fun watching it. It's a bit of an actually a boring film as far as I'm concerned. It's not just the comedy that's very poor. It's the pace of the film, and even just the premise of the whole story is just not there for me. But
come on, move on from the sequels. Come on.
Yeah. We'll move on from that.
Let's go.
No, I wanted to look at some images, but they're not coming up. Of for some reason they're not in this folder of mine. I wanted to talk about the Black Series figures, and this would be a good time to get Mr. Usual Mike in. So let me just add Mr. Usual Mike. How you doing, my friend? All right?
Am I here? Hey, hello everybody.
You in?
G'day, Mike.
I'm going well.
Good evening.
Can you hear me?
We can. We're just about to talk. I was just about to move on to the Black Series figures, but I'll just have a quick chat with you first. How you doing? All right?
Yeah, nice and bright and early. 7:12 a.m. Gonna have a little rest for a couple of days of making videos.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
I've done 6
early.
videos in 6 days. I'm absolutely knackered. I fell asleep this afternoon. I had 2 hours sleep on the sofa. I was like, oh my God.
Ooh,
I did a live stream with Darth Rock 1 last night.
smashing them out.
2 hours. Before that, 6
I
days
still
of
need to
6
check on that.
videos.
I did see your review.
What's that,
You
sorry?
got the carbonized Boba Fett, and you got the carbonized Boba Fett, and I loved it. I saw it, and I was like, "Oh,
Yeah,
there he is."
I'm not really a fan of it particularly. The cape is horrendous.
Yeah, it's falling to bits on you. Did they
It's
cover
not-
it in
it's
some
not just
sort of
that.
resin? It's
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. But won't moan about it too much because I did enough of that in my video. So, somebody in my video said,
Yeah.
can't you be more positive about it? And I was like, hang on a minute, I'm one of the most positive people around about like Hasbro's stuff, because in general I love Hasbro's stuff that they give us. I mean, there's the odd dodgy thing, you know. And I said, look, would you rather me, surely you want me to be honest about what I'm showing you, and I can't be anything other than I think they're a bit of a cash grab, the carbonized figures, because essentially it's just, here's a figure you've already got painted, sprayed metallic. I can't say it any other way. They're for people that just want them in the box on the shelf. You can't want that figure out on your shelf.
It's the Funko model, isn't it? Where just spray a different color and re-release and re-release and re-release.
Yeah. So anyway, Mike, we're going to talk about the Black Series figures that got announced along with the Falcon and the Captain Cardinal. I didn't have a clue who this bloke was.
Yeah.
But when I looked at the figure, I thought that's just a Sith trooper with a cape.
Yeah.
It's just, to me, I mean, I don't know, you know, obviously it's probably not Hasbro, it's Disney, isn't it? But what a lazy design that is. I mean, I gather from what people have told me in the comments is that he's like a sort of not a villain to Captain Phasma, but he's like he's like jostling for position in the First Order with Captain Phasma, right? Is that how you would say it?
Like a right-hand man, yeah.
Oh, is it not like a? Do you know what I mean?
He's from the book Phasma, I think it is, where it talks about Phasma's backstory, and they're sort of both vying for the attention of
That's what I mean,
Top Dog within the First Order. So it's a rival, I suppose.
That's
rather
what
than
I meant. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. They're like competing for to be top captain or whatever.
I like that idea.
So basically, it's a red Phasma, yeah.
But a man.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Not for me. That's like the
But his
easiest.
cape is nicer than the Boba Fett's that you just pulled up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That figure's the easiest pass for me going. No.
For me, that one should have had a removable helmet because, again, a big part of the book is that he takes his helmet off to interrogate Vi Moradi, who's another big part of Galaxy's Edge. And so she sees his face, and it's very much that interaction. So I'd have thought if they were going to do a figure, it should have had a removable helmet.
Yeah, Fly Guy, I think, did a custom, didn't he, or something?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
that looked good. And then he agreed with what you said. The same, it's a bloody Sith trooper with a cape.
But it's like one of these things. It's like if you don't
he made that.
How are you supposed to know who this person is if you don't read the books and comics and stuff? Because I went to Galaxy's Edge, and that character was not mentioned once. You couldn't see, he was nowhere. So if it's based around Galaxy's Edge and that whole story, he was not there. The droid was, because the droid that also was announced, he's like the DJ in the Olga's Cantina. But that red dude, nowhere to be seen. No.
Did you know as well, Tim?
Nothing.
Did you know as well, Captain Rex? The DJ Rex, R3X. He is the original pilot of on Star Wars.
Yeah, I did know. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I knew that. Yeah, I went there on my honeymoon like 10 years ago when Galaxy's Edge didn't exist. So,
right.
And we went on that ride. Dallas Macy.
Another box. Yeah.
Hey, Boss Bounty, how do you like my idea? Since we're getting the 501st Legion ARC Troopers, we should get a Camino ARC Trooper set with Commander Colt, Havoc, and Blitz. Give them us all. All the clones. You'd be up for that, wouldn't you?
Do you know something about that Colt figure? I couldn't believe how expensive he is now on the secondary market. And my mother bought that for my nephew. Just walked into Tesco or somewhere, probably got it for £7, maybe less. Look at it now. What is it, 90 quid loose? 150.
Yeah, 150 in the pack. I saw it go for.
You would not imagine that, would you? All that stuff. There was a couple of other figures that were reduced in Sainsbury's and Tesco. I think they had the Clone Wars versions of, definitely Ahsoka's expensive now, and also maybe even Cody. Buy them for 2 for 1 at one point. It's crazy.
Definitely creeping up. I mean, to the question, I think it's a great shout for another 3-pack, but they'll probably look to give it a little bit of breathing space from this one being released before they go to do anything more with them. But absolutely, definitely be picking those up as well if they come out.
I think when they see how well this one, I mean, if you only have to go on Instagram, social media, look at the replies that Hasbro are getting in their posts that they've posted. I mean, I did it to Steve Evans. Steve Evans isn't even involved with Star Wars anymore, and he posted the picture of the 3-pack because obviously he can respect how flipping good it is. Yeah. And I said to him, just make sure you make enough of them for everyone. Yeah. Because people are going to be after that thing like nobody's business. So they know it's going to sell like hotcakes, and they'll just be silly not to capitalize it on make loads of, all of the captains and what have you. I mean, it's a bit of a shame that the Wolf, the difference in time between the Wolf and these. Why did they use that really old Black Series sculpt for the Wolf? They could have at least. I mean, I know it's not an ARC Trooper, but they could have used some of the body or whatever. Just the better figure. But they went back on that old thing, didn't they?
It's an interesting one. I think one of the things I read somewhere was it's not always necessarily using the best sculpt. It's about using what sculpt they have available in the factory where they're doing the production of that wave at that moment, and that's just the one that gets used.
Yeah, but that's my point. Why didn't they just hold Wolf off for 3-6 months?
Yeah,
because now you've got because as soon as that Wolf was announced, everyone just said, they're using that rubbish body from the Black Series. That's all the comments. Whereas I was focusing on the head sculpt, which is pretty much the same head as they're using on these new clones. I was focusing on that, saying, bloody hell, look at that. That's a really good head sculpt, that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But a lot of people were just focusing on the body of the thing and the fact that it's just an old, out of date sculpt. So
yeah, it's a shame.
So they can update it. Oh, sorry.
So go on.
Sorry, Chris was going. I was going to say they want to give us the old one and then give us later on the new one. So they're selling it virtually over a space of 12 months. So no one misses out on a design.
Quite possibly. I'm not familiar enough with the characters to know if side by side they got exactly the same outfits. I mean, yeah, the armor's got to be fairly similar, but the cameras and the belts that they're using, I don't know if that's got something to do with why it's a new sculpt completely for the 3 new ones, but it wasn't used for Wolf. Yeah, an odd one. Oh dear.
yeah. So let's have a look at a bit of the chat.
Did you guys get anything from San Diego Comic-Con? Anyone get anything? No.
What do you mean?
I just want to brag because I did from San Diego Comic-Con. Look what I picked up. Mighty. Yeah, Comic-Con sticker.
I thought you got
the shared exclusives. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't see him. He's all greened out. Oh yeah. Excellent.
For a moment, then I was thinking, like, what? The pre-orders for Star Wars have been up already, and you've snagged them already?
No, the pop's always been up in my country.
Yeah. Imagine missing the 3-pack while we're on the stream. We're all sitting there doing the stream, and the 3-pack goes on sale, and all these people just clear out the chat and go and buy the 3-pack, and we're sitting like mugs.
Yeah, it did go quiet for a little bit in the chat. I'm not sure if that was the case. Just going to check ID toys.
That'd be awful.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Absolutely. Let's have a look at some of the stuff in the chats. Who have we got?
Yeah, I'm looking down now.
I love your background, Chris, by the way. That's awesome, man. With green screen action magic.
I apologise. I did miss a super chat from David Sutherland. Thank you, mate. You're a big supporter of the channel. I do appreciate it. Thank you very much, my friend.
CA, Canadian dollars. Awesome. Is that right?
Thank you very much, gents. That's
Canadian.
Yeah, David's from Canada.
You can put your helmet on and you would just think you're sitting in a ship, Chris. It looks fantastic.
It's been a fairly smooth ride so far. I've been plain sailing, so can't complain too much. But
and what about you, Mike? Is that your real background, Mike, or is that the green screen?
That's a green screen.
All right, okay.
I can't knock over the toys. It'll look a little bit different now. I've changed it up. Next video, I've tidied it all up. It's all missing now. It's all empty. Well, not empty, but it's a different setup. Yeah.
Excellent. So we touched earlier
with the Falcon. I'm keen to get the Falcon, but I already have one. I've got the Force Awakens Falcon, like I mentioned in my video. But I'm keen on getting this Falcon, but in my country it will be $850.
No. Hang on, Mike. I'll stop you there, mate. I'll stop you there. $800 dues, mate.
Dollary dues.
$800 dues.
I love that.
Yeah.
Funny.
Jeez, that's a huge chunk of change.
Has anywhere in Australia had it for pre-order, Mike?
I've already looked on some sites. I saw on Zavvi is the carbon freezing chamber for $94.95.
Bargain.
Aussie dollary dues. Yeah. But nothing in Australia yet. The theme pop culture in Australia has the Sentinel, but nothing else. They have that Sentinel from HasLab is available to pre-order, and it says September 2021. I don't know why they've got that up so early, but nothing Star Wars on that site. Yeah.
So, I mean, you mentioned the carbon freezing chamber there.
Yeah, you wanted to talk about that, didn't you, Chris? You go ahead. What did you want to say?
Well, I mean, I've seen lots of negativity around that, and I understand it's not as much in the box as I think people were expecting. But I think you also look a little bit further away from that, and there's some of the custom work that fans are doing on Facebook and some stuff on eBay where they're doing like cardboard dioramas or plastic ones that are significantly more than that, but still made out of cardboard, and people are snapping those up and selling them through. So it's kind of which way are we looking at this? If you're taking the example off eBay and people are buying the sets that are less detailed for more, yet Hasbro released something for 50 quid that's more detailed and comes with a figure, and everyone's complaining. I don't know if there's a bit of a disconnect, whether it's just that we've got such a wide selection of people that are looking at these things. Is it really fair to be quite as harsh on this set as many people have been?
I'll go first on that, and I want to hear an opinion from everyone on this. So my opinion of it is that one, it's not a playset. It doesn't say playset on the box. So let's just get that out there first. There's no play features to it. And in fact, the Jabba's Palace thing that everyone calls the Jabba's Palace playset does not say Jabba's Palace playset on the box either. It says Jabba's Palace Adventure Set. So this whole thing about play features kind of knocks me a little bit, because the Vintage Collection and the Black Series are not for children. They're not designed for children. They are designed for adult collectors. Now, I personally don't want or need play features particularly, because most of my stuff just sits there. Then there's the other side of the coin where if it is just a display piece, then it is extremely, extremely bare. And compared to things that they have brought out in the Vintage Collection, it is lacking in lots of different areas. It's lacking in, from what I can tell, I don't have it yet, but it's lacking in like detail, weathering. It's lacking in, it doesn't even have the consoles for the thing, just the little things, whatever. I actually think it would make a better set to position Luke and Vader at the top and not have anything else down below. I wouldn't have it as the scene. I think this is what a lot of people might do with it. They might not have all the people crowded round half a hole, or if they're going to buy both the hole with the carbonite block in there with no thing to lift it out. Yeah. They might have the Vader and Luke at the top and then have some lights coming through or whatever. And I'd imagine you might be able to do some decent photography work, possibly with the lights coming through, get the tone right and whatever. But don't get me wrong, I do think it is lacking in. It's not what I expected. And then the final point I want to make about it is that people compare it to the Power of the Jedi one, right? Now, the Power of the Jedi one is a toy. It has that stuff where you can put things in and it molds plasma, whatever it's called. It doesn't have a claw. Everyone's like, where's the claw? That one does not have a claw. And if you were to put more than 3 figures on the Power of the Jedi one, it would be full because it's about this big. Yeah. So that comparing that thing to the Power of the Jedi one is just a nonsense as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. But the thing we're getting is not, because I've known about that. And I know, Nick, I mentioned to you ages ago. We've talked about it for a long time. We've known about that set for a long time. And because of the hype I was getting in my own head about what it could be, it didn't deliver at all. And it's not as good as I thought it was going to be. Mike?
Oh, I just wanted a fairer price and have more figures. And obviously not as bland as it was. It's just it because you're saying with the Power of the Jedi one, that's where my mind went to, and my expectations were that's what it looks like. They can do something similar, and it was nothing like it, nothing at all like that version. And the other part that was the real kick in the guts was have to buy 2 to make it a complete set. Like I didn't have to buy 2 Jabba's palaces. But this thing you have to. That was the other part that was like, oh, how disappointing. But the only thing they could have brought out a couple of figures. We need a Lobot and an Ugnaught, and people would have lost their minds and gone, oh, don't worry about the set. I'm just going to get it for the figures. The figures are just for the nice looking Stormtrooper on the card back. Yeah. So that was kind of why I called it what did I call it? A brown 2-cylinder car.
Nick?
Very bland.
I've just made a couple of notes here. I've got to say, I must have been uninspired when it came out, because it was end of June, wasn't it, that reveal? Because I have literally only just bought this thing, I pre-ordered it a matter of days ago, because I was sat there thinking, my God, I haven't ordered this thing yet, and I didn't want it to sell out because I would miss the carded figure, which in itself, following on what you just said, Mike, I'm not even inspired by that, really. It's an all right card, but when they didn't say Lobot or anyone significant like that, I just what? But the other thing I wanted to say about what you said there, Tim, about, I think you maybe just said about the top bit, if it was just stairs only, one of the things that I didn't like about the look of it is the ricketiness of it.
Yeah.
It wants stilts.
Yeah.
I mean, one of my biggest dreams, if I ever won the lottery, one of my biggest dreams was to have a mock-up of the carbonite chamber, and it's all about the stairs, isn't it? The way they look, and all the bottom section I really couldn't care about. I mean, they've only got stilts just because of the hole, haven't they? I would just prefer a diorama, a bit like that. I'm pointing over there, but that's where my Jabba palace thing is. If they just had some sort of piece that was just the stairs and the top, that would be awesome. I don't know, but
it does look rickety, doesn't it? It does. It just to me, it just lacks a bit of quality, which is what the vintage collection should be. The vintage collection, in terms of that scale of figures, should be the top tier.
Yeah,
of quality.
But I've got to say,
when you look at the barge, the skiff, the tank, the Pose X-wing, these are they're no two ways about it. They're quality items, aren't they?
Yeah, but I've got to say, when it did come up on screen, it did excite me or whatever. I saw it and I thought, wow. And I think it's probably because I saw the box art, and that does look good because they've really done it out to look, with all the characters. And with the but then the more you see, the less it appeals, But on the night, I thought, wow, yes, wow, or whatever. But nah, it's missing lots.
It's just some of the complaints that people have of it for me is where it goes a bit wrong, and which is why it gets a lot of slack that it does. And I'm in the opinion that it does deserve slack. Don't get me wrong, because it needs to be better than that. But I think when people start trying to compare it to things that it's just a nonsense. You can't compare it to that Power of the Jedi one. They're two things aimed at two different types of people for a start. One is supposed to have lots of play features. It's for a child. They're supposed to actually play with it. And the other one is for collectors. The vintage collection is not for children. That's why it's not in shops really anymore, especially over here. The people in charge of the Black Series and the vintage collection brands are called, what are they called? What's Patrick's title? Is he like chief marketing operator of the fan channel or something they call it, or something like that, don't they? Basically, the lines that are for the adults, he's got no interest in Mission Fleet and all that crap. He is the adult stuff, and that is a vintage collection item, so it's not going to have plasma stuff and lights and sounds. It's just not going to have it.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I think they could have put so much more into it. I think it's just an interesting one with what else is out on the market, what other people are making available for considerably more, charging considerably more than Hasbro are charging for theirs. There seems to be a bit of a disconnect in that way, that's all. Because a lot of the, you can get 3D printed crates or a doorway from Shapeways, and they're charging significantly more than Hasbro are charging for half a platform, a funnel, a set of steps, and a gantry, and some pillars. I forget the pillars. And you get a carded figure in there as well. So it's like I say, it's that disconnect. It's people are more than happy to buy the stuff to populate a diorama, just a couple of crates that are going to cost them a fair chunk. Yet Hasbro took a lot of flack for the price for what's there.
I just want to bring up Michael McGregor, who's put no lights and sounds. So we're talking about the Legacy Falcon. Yeah, and I do accept that, and that's the Legacy Falcons came out before the Vintage Collection. But I do accept that has got lights and sounds. But how many vehicles or play sets or whatever you want to call them in the last 10 years have got lights and sounds? Do any Black Series vehicles or play sets or Vintage Collection things have lights and sounds?
Don't think so. There was a Comic-Con exclusive with the Rey and Kylo with the Mister effect that had lights.
That's for the atmosphere of it, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Rather than like a play thing.
Yeah.
So that's Vintage Hatter.
Yeah. I like I say, I think they could have done a lot more with it. Purely as something that people would have forgot about the set completely is just packing a Vintage Collection Ugnaught in there, and people would have just gone, "Yep, no problem, carry on." But it was a Stormtrooper that we'd already got. Yes, it's a new card, but not
George Aitken there as well says the AT-AT, yeah, and that's another one. But like for example, Vintage Snowspeeder. This is mine from I was a kid when I had this. Right, it's got lights and sounds. The one that in the Black Series that's just come out does not have lights and sounds. It's just a model. It's just a good-looking model that you're supposed to display. Somebody that buys the Black Series is not going to be running around their lounge going. Do you know what I mean? They're not. I wish I could, but my wife would never. You know what I mean? She wouldn't allow it.
Just wait for your wife to go out, Chris. Not Chris, Boss. I'm sorry. Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to get at, right? They don't. For me, for something to be good for me, it needs to look good. It doesn't need to have flashing lights and sounds.
No, it doesn't have to. The idealized Bespin Freezing Chamber, again, someone pointed to the micro collection where you had everything all in there, but actually to see the lights coming through the steps, a little bit of steam coming up from the bit when he actually goes into the carbon freeze, some sort of functioning with a claw. If you have that as a display, would look amazing.
Yeah,
I think asking for all of that for 50 quid is too much.
Yeah,
and it kind of feels like you say, half a play set or a display piece rather than something on its own.
And one of the main disappointing things for me was that when the Jabba's Palace came out, it just followed on from the barge. So they started releasing a lot of figures. They really released the Gamorrean Guard, and we talked about this before, but they released a lot of stuff that can accompany it basically. Whereas this year, for some reason, this playset's just come out, and they've not given anyone that hasn't got the figures from 10 years ago from the Legacy Collection, Ugnaughts and things like that. And it's like they put all these figures on the box, and they just expect you to have them. So,
yeah. I mean, I'm quite lucky in that I do have most of the figures on that box, but I still want the carded Ugnaught for the Collector 96 run on a vintage card. So it's a bit of a no-brainer, that one, certainly.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Anyway, thank you for indulging me on that one.
That's fine. Yeah, I mean, it needs to be talked about, doesn't it? Because it's definitely been a talking point in the community. That's for sure. A lot of people have made videos about it and what have you. I don't think anyone that I know of was just happy with it. You know, there's something about it they don't like. You know.
Yeah, which is a shame.
I was really looking forward to it. I thought it was going to be something that it wasn't. That's for sure.
It's it's a bit like for some people, episode 1 all over again. We were expecting Star Wars to come back, and episode 1 was very different to what any of us were expecting. I enjoy episode 1, but it's not what we were expecting. And I know other fans obviously had a very, very different reaction than that.
Yeah.
Right. Were there any, have we covered all the reveals from the last couple of weeks?
So we've covered the 3-pack, covered the Wampa, done the Endor Heroes, Falcon. Anything else?
Super Commando? Do we talk about it?
Oh yes,
the
of course.
Clone Wars stuff.
Yeah.
Yes. Mandalorian. Yeah, that's Super Commando. Oh.
Yeah.
That's got me hyped. I like that design. That horns on his head.
What's this? Sorry, Mike. What was that?
There's a Clone Series pack. There's 4 of them. Ahsoka Loyalist Trooper, Mandalorian Loyalist, and the Mandalorian Super Commando. And it's Mandalore, which is like a clone that's based on Maul's people from Darth Vader. Is that correct? The planet. And and he's got horns on his head, and it's a fantastic design.
Yeah, my pick of that wave is the Loyalist, the blue Mandalorian.
Yeah,
he looks great.
The toned down one. He's like a ninja. He looks very covert.
Well, he reminds me of the ones from the Mandalorian TV show with the flashback where they save Din Djarin.
Yeah.
Death Watch. Is it Death Watch?
Yeah, absolutely. I really like the Ahsoka from that way. She looks fantastic.
The new Ahsoka
in the grey. Yeah, it's
fantastic. Yeah, and again, some of the poses you can see are in the photography. It really, really dynamic poses, and that's some of the good stuff that the Black Series can do. You can get those. Because you've got the extra space to have the extra joints in, you can really get some dynamic poses out of the characters. So that might be one that I'm going to pick up on that one. So yeah, it's certainly a good wave.
There is a Lego leak, but I don't know if Tim wants to show it. This only popped up a couple hours ago.
I'm not going to put it on the screen, no, but I've seen it.
Oh, you've seen it? Yeah, the Bespin.
Yeah. It's the Bespin gantry, isn't it? Yeah. It does look good, yeah.
That's what happens. All the leaks happen, and reveals happen overnight. So I wake up in the morning and I grab the phone and I'm like going through sometimes it's been so long, like Tim's already made a video about it, like I've missed the boat, but I usually get it up a good 18 hours later. Yeah.
Well, you shouldn't live in upside down land then, should you?
I'll get to it. Just the reveals are at the worst time. Occasionally they'll happen at 4 o'clock in the afternoon for me, which you guys are all asleep then. It's like 2 in the morning for you, and then I can make a video then. It's like that very rarely happens that. It's always when I'm asleep. I wake up and all the reveals of, look at this popped up overnight.
Yeah, well, they usually,
there's been some good stuff.
Like 1 o'clock in the afternoon US time, so for us it's like 5 p.m. or whatever. Usually, I find.
There you go.
And but then when you're making the video, then you're like, well, do I just take the images off the screen, off Twitter, or do I wait for the press release? And you're like waiting for the press release. It's like I just can't wait any longer. I'm just going to put the lower res images out. That'll do. That'll do for now. And then you've got your video time. You're uploading your video, and then inbox ping. There's the press images. You're like, I'm not doing it again.
No. It's there. It's up. Deal with it.
Yeah.
One of the other bits and pieces that has dropped recently was a bit of gameplay footage for the Squadrons game that's coming out. Have you seen any of the trailers or the footage from that at all?
I saw the first trailer for it. I haven't seen the one that I think Harry was alluding to in the comments. That's got proper gameplay footage. I haven't seen it. I will have to check it out. But it's definitely something I'm interested in. It looks, from the first trailer, it looks really good.
Yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe the story that goes with it is supposed to be canon as well.
Oh, right.
So definite potential for some more characters to make their way into action figure form from that, which would be good. And some new ships, of course. So yeah, it's a good one.
So the vintage collection will get the ships, and the Black Series will get the figures. Then in the gaming greats, won't they?
That's it.
Yeah, because I'd love that boss.
Well, sometimes
the Trandoshan in the blue flight suit. As soon as I saw him, I was like, "Yeah, we've got to get him."
Yeah.
But yeah, he'll be a Black Series figure, no doubt.
Yeah. No, there's definitely. I'm looking forward to the game as well. I'm not a massive gamer, but I really enjoyed Battlefront, and especially the flight sim part of that game. Managed to borrow a VR headset off one of my mates to play some of that as well, and it's absolutely phenomenal. The VR side of things. I don't know if any of you have played the VR stuff, but it is really top notch in that. Being able to look around and see everything around you and everything going to hell as you're trying to avoid a fireball yourself. It's great.
Was that PlayStation VR?
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't got the thing. A friend of her has, and I think I played Resident Evil on it. Freaked the hell out of me.
Yes, exactly.
Michael McGregor says I snagged that Mandalorian loyalist just to satisfy the want for the Death Watch. Yeah. I think I ordered 3 of them, and I'm not a massive Black Series collector, but that thing, we need that in the vintage collection badly.
Absolutely.
I mean, I reckon that.
Oh, Mike.
What did you just say then, Tim? What do we need in the vintage collection badly?
The Mandalorian loyalist, the blue Death Watch Mandalorian.
Oh yeah.
What are you saying there, Mike?
Oh, in the show The Mandalorian, there's that boss character as well. We need in any form. It's not available in Black Series or vintage yet.
What, the ones that attack
He's not
him?
boss, but he's a little bit browner than the yellow fella.
Beskar Smith.
Yeah, I think just one of him.
I'll take that. I'll take any characters from The Mandalorian, to be honest.
He's probably one of them coded names that we don't know yet. Yeah.
That little
There is a lot of
excerpt you
coded names
played
in that TVC.
on one of your videos, Mike. That little excerpt you played of Jason from Yakface on that podcast, where he talked about that wave coming in the end of maybe even the end of the year, and when he reeled them off, I was like, wow,
Good
Captain Rex, Moff Gideon, and the Armorer from that. Whew.
That sounds like, and before the end of the year. I hope so. Christmas time.
Great.
Nice little present. Yeah.
This is what I was saying
and if
to
the waves of vintage
go
from 4 to 5, that will be fantastic. Yeah. If vintage collection waves are 5 characters instead of 4, that will improve things as well.
Will something the case mix is right, because again, it looks like although some of the waves are switching to 5 figures, it's still only going to be an 8-figure case assortment.
Yeah.
So it kind of begs the question: well, who's getting 2 figures? Who's getting just the 1? Which could be interesting.
Which is a peg warmer.
Well, the case selection for the current wave is 3 Wolves, 2 K2SOs, 2 Luke Stormtroopers, and 1 Gonk.
1 power droid. Yeah, 1 power droid. Just the 1.
Yeah. Shame.
That tells me that figure is more expensive to make. And that to save their money, they just, we'll put 1 per case. Yeah.
Possibly. He's a shorter one. You'd have thought he'd be the cheapest to make. It's
They always do that, don't they?
Well, he's not the shape of a normal.
Whatever. And it'll be more expensive in the future, won't it? Probably. I was eyeing up the possibility of buying the full wave with Dorkside, but then I ended up just buying the one of each with ID and Star Action, and I think it just worked out better. Actually, I can't remember now, but I looked at all the options of what was best to do. Yeah,
to get it through.
Daniel Chart says we must get a Queel in the vintage collection, hopefully on top of an articulated blurg. I have spoken. Yeah, 100% with you there.
Yeah,
Queel will be the missing one, won't he? Once Moff Gideon and the armor are out. Obviously, you got Grief Karga as well, and a couple of others. But Queel for me is one of the stars of the show. So
absolutely. And I mean, again, in vintage collection, you kind of have to use a stand-in IG-88 droid for IG-11.
He was cool. He was awesome. Him.
Yeah.
But, I loved him.
Great characters, great series, and I think hopefully they seem to be realising that people like it and enjoy it, and they're going to get some stuff out onto the shelves available for when season 2 hits and beyond. So yeah, fingers crossed.
There's something about the way he moved as well, wasn't it? IG-11.
yeah,
it's like there's people who love IG-88, and I'm not like a massive fan of IG-88, but I've got more respect now, seeing how he like moved, and you could see he was like this juddery or jittery, wasn't he, or stuttered a little bit.
Well, I think in The Empire Strikes Back, he didn't even have legs, did he? You only saw
Oh,
it.
didn't he?
I think the model of him, they just had him, I think, from the waist up, you know?
Yeah, and they just put the thing from the cantina, plonked that on a robot.
Yeah.
That's right, it was like a drinks machine or something.
You never actually saw him move, he just stood there, didn't he?
Yeah.
So yeah, when they got him all moving around, when he takes out is it the first episode?
Yeah.
It is, isn't it?
And then he's back as the servant, the nurse.
The other thing about that show is that they realised that the original trilogy aliens are very important for the whole Star Wars world. You know, and I've said this before about the sequel trilogy about having 0 of the original aliens, and they just I think Nin Num was the only one that was any recognizable. All of the other ones were new, and it's almost like here's this new completely different world, whereas Star Wars is a big universe or whatever, but you would see you would see familiar aliens, I would think, unless you're in a completely different place. So to immediately have IG-88 rocking in against all those green Niktos and whatever, that just made it for me.
Yeah, and that was a huge part of it. The fact that it was really well blended. I mean, even the Trandashans that appeared in the show, they were clearly the same species as Boss, but they were slightly different, just subtle enough, like a slight variation, but it's still very much tied to those original trilogy aliens that we're so familiar with, that make up, again, the world building of Star Wars. It's part of the language. So it doesn't feel right when you end up with aliens that are completely out of kilter appearing on screen without them surrounding them. I think George got it spot on with the prequels, with that, introducing new aliens that you've never seen before, but there was still a Rodian walking around in the background. All these other characters that you recognise. Oh, I know where I am. I'm on Tatooine. It's fine. Crack on. It's set the world. You know where you are. So
I think the Mandalorian.
You didn't have a casino full of weirdos.
Yeah, exactly. So the Mandalorian opens up the possibility of us getting aliens, because everyone that collects figures that I know loves the Jabba aliens and Cantina aliens and what have you. So, if we get a Nikto or something from the Mandalorian, then fantastic.
Yeah. And fingers crossed. And again, a lot of it comes back to stuff we were talking about a couple of months ago. The back TVC, the fight for TVC, all that sort of stuff, making ourselves heard, we want more of it. Yeah, more of those guys that are actually
More of those guys.
will get him into the line. Hopefully they're listening and they can add that in. Still looking for some of those characters actually as well. That one in the middle there, he's definitely the weirdest of the lot. He's different.
See, Mike was using the green screen after all.
Yeah, there's that.
Efant Mon.
Got to get him for the. Yeah, Efant Mon. Got to get him for the Jabba's Palace. He's in the Blues line, the saga.
That's
Yeah,
right.
you've got him, haven't you, Nick? You've got that.
I got a bargain for him.
You got it from Echo, didn't you?
Yeah, like 14 quid or something like that. Under 20, yeah. Hey, amazing. A heavy piece of plastic as well. He's the kind of character you expect to just go like that, though, you know, rocket in price for some reason, but no, he's obviously held firm. It's funny that, isn't it? Is it just there's more of him out there or less demand? I don't believe that there's not a demand for someone like him. You know, especially now with the barge. And maybe
they've made him one time.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
I think it was a fan's choice as well, wasn't he?
That's right.
He was. That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'd love an XR Kun or whatever he's called, that ancient Sith Lord double blade lightsaber, but I'm not spending £400 on for him. Which comes on a comic pack or something. But I'd love to add him to my Sith collection, but not for that, you know, it's ridiculous. And he'll never come out again. It'd be great if he did.
Yeah.
Speaking of really old vintage, you saw that I got the R2D2 recently. I showed it off for the first 12.
Yeah.
How much do you think I paid for that R2D2? I didn't say it in the video.
You plugged Toy Polloi. Toy Polloi.
Toy Polloi. Yeah. So I picked that up for 15 Aussie dollars. So £7. I got that R2.
Wow.
Good going.
Wow, that's awesome, Mike. Fantastic. Are you going to get your own sticker to restore him? Like, you know, you can buy stickers. Decals.
You know who's talking me out of that? Darth Mark from Blue Harvest. He said, no repro, leave it as it is.
He's got loads of repos.
Still watching.
I'm joking, he hasn't.
I'm not sure.
He had a repro box. He doesn't have it in the background anymore.
Oh, that's it. That's special 7 figures, and it can only fit 6 in the box. That's right.
Yeah. I don't know what he's done with it. It looked quite good.
It is. It looks fantastic. Yeah, £7 for little old
That's
R2.
amazing, mate.
I was amazed. Yeah. The other ones are usually I get them for 10 Aussie dollars. All the rest of them. It's one store in my local town, and he's the loveliest guy ever. It's the House of M, and it's like vintage toys. There's a lot of other stuff, but there's a small selection of vintage Star Wars that sit in a case, and I just go, I'll take that one. Take that one. Take that one. He said, "Oh, I'll go $10 on those. Oh, R2's a bit expensive on eBay. Go 15." So, sold.
Do you know? And also, Mike, is it sensor scope or is it flat dome? Which one was it?
Flat dome.
It's the first. It's
it's
the solid dome, isn't it?
Solid dome, even better.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought the little thing would be more expensive.
I don't think so. I think the one with the lightsabers. That's the most expensive one.
Yeah.
I mean, with the Kenner line, obviously you're all collecting and trying to build up the old. I don't know if you are as well, Nick. Trying to rebuild the Kenner line, collect them all again. Do you have a particular order that you're trying to do it in? Is it like trying to complete the first 12 first, then move on to doing the next 21 and so on, or do you just get them as and when they come up?
I just want to say that very quickly. For 4 years, sorry, Mike, if you don't mind me just going first here. About 4 years ago, I was doing a bit of that, Chris. I haven't done that. I'm not doing that right now, buying old figures, but I did recard a load of them. In fact, I've got a video from yonks ago where I reviewed them all. I used what they call now Restore Nation on eBay. I don't know if they even exist anymore, but I've actually sold all of them. But funnily enough, I bought an R2 and also for a bargain probably about a tenner. I'm sure it was about a tenner on eBay. I got an R4 and an R2 vintage 80s. I don't know what the date stamp was on them, but I've sold them now, but I made a massive profit on them by just recarding them as customs. But just to answer your question, Chris, I'm not doing anything like that right now. I'm just concentrating on all the modern figures. Apart from retro collection, that's the only thing that I've got that at least looks of that era now.
It's difficult. I have like a list of stuff that I want at the beginning of the year. We do it on our Twitter group. It's like our sort of top 10 things we want for that year. And I always stray from it because I see something else and I go, I want that. Because you belong to all these Facebook groups and things come up for sale and you just basically claim, and then you end up going, right, well, what have I got here? Oh, I've got 5 of the first 12. Now I need the others. So I bought that first 12 stand and I'm 3 figures away from it now. So to answer Big Biscuit's question, in terms of the vintage Kenner line, I'm missing R2-D2, Luke Skywalker, and Darth Vader from a first 12. So like the farm boy Luke's got to be the blonde-haired one for the first 12 and all that. It's got to have a proper lightsaber with the tip on it. It's got to be near mint for me for that thing. The other things I'm doing is I'm kind of avoiding like the Return of the Jedi ones, for example, because they're just like the easiest ones to get, and I know that I won't have a problem getting those. So if when I come round to getting a Rebel Commando or whatever, I'm not going to have a problem getting one. There's just loads of them there. So, but I do have a few of them. But yeah, it's just a case of when they come up. If you see a decent example, like in the last 2 weeks or 3 weeks, I've bought 2 Jawas and 2 Stormtroopers when I was only after 1 of each, because you just see a better one come up. You see a better one come up, and you end up getting that one. So then I'll move the other one on, or I'll keep one for my first 12 stand and then have another 2 in the cabinet.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah. You're after your first 12, aren't you, Mike?
Yes. So I have 2 to go, the Stormtrooper and the Jawa. But where you, Tim, are looking for good ones, I'm sort of like, in Australia, it's much harder to get any loose Kenner. So if you see it and you want it, you get it as beat up as it is. My Luke Skywalker actually doesn't have the telescopic lightsaber. It's broken out of his hand. So I got a real beater. Yeah. So I only initially started to fill up my Jabba's palace. So I got Bib Fortuna, a couple others are in there. But yeah, and then I saw the first 12. I'm like, I'll go with them. But what I really want is the last 17.
Yeah.
So I'll go first 12, last 17, and then bits in between.
I've got a few of the last 17.
I did see an Anakin.
Ewoks. That's it, I think. I got Warwick, which was the last Ewok I needed, but he cost me a lot. It's a lot of money for that Warwick because of the bow. But the Ewoks are done now. Yeah, when it comes to like the A-wing pilot and the Death Star gunner, is it?
Yep.
Expensive figures.
Yeah.
A man, expensive. Luke Stormtrooper, expensive figures.
Yeah.
So I'll leave those for last.
It's one of the, I think much like yourself at the start of the year, it's like a New Year's resolution things. What are the targets? I typically try and go for at least 1 vintage, 1 modern, and 1 random that I'll try and pick up during that year. That's maybe a more difficult one to get. So like I think my last year it was to complete the first 12 was my vintage one. I had a couple, so it was like finish off that little run. So this year it was try and get the first 21, and I'm on my way towards that and just sort of stacking it out that way. But yeah, if the right piece pops up, then I'm going to pick it up. I managed to get an A-wing pilot for a decent price, and I think somehow managed to pick up a Han Solo Carbonite. I had the block from when I was a kid still. didn't have the figure. I managed to pick him up with 3 other figures for a tenner off eBay, which I was well chuffed with because it completed the hand carbonite. Got a couple of extra figures as well. You break it down, that's what, £2.50 for the hand solo. Can't complain at that. And it's just working through it a bit at a time. But I always find that if you've got that little goal to just say, right, well, I've got those, like you said with the Ewoks, you'd get them done, and then it's like tick, right, next challenge, what can I do next? And it's just little focuses, I think, really helps break it down and keep it fun.
Yeah, I mean, I decided to go near mint because essentially I did have quite a lot of the figures, like beaters, because they're my childhood ones. I had a box of, I don't know, maybe 10 or 15 of them left that I hadn't sold at car boot sales and what have you. But I've given them all to my son because I look at them and I think, let him get the enjoyment that I had out of them, and that he'll like them. Maybe they're not good enough for a cabinet, maybe to go with some other figures that I've got. So I just gave him all of those. The only one I kept of my childhood that's in my cabinet is the Hoth Snow Trooper, but he hasn't got his camera thing, and I haven't got his gun. But he's just in there just as like a reminder that was like one of my sort of boyhood figures. And obviously I've got my Falcon and my Snow Speeder and a couple of other bits and bobs. But I've started again essentially when it comes to the vintage line of figures because I'm trying to get them in as best possible condition as I can.
Yeah.
And my son will not be touching them, No chance.
Absolutely. I mean, my biggest fear is when the missus goes into the collection room and I'll just put this one back for the kids and knocks over a couple of figures next to them. I'll just stand there, but knocks the next ones down. It's like, just get out. Yeah.
But again, get out.
Exactly. It's just but part of it is that my kids enjoy playing with the figures and sort of doing a bit of a library system. So I let them borrow a couple, they play with those, they come back, swap them for another couple, and it just means that they're getting the enjoyment out of it, and it's also teaching them to respect other people's belongings, and they always come back in great shape. They're good kids. I'm pleased with that.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see how the youngest one deals with it, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Yeah. See, my son thinks he's got it into his head that he's getting the barge for Christmas. And I'm like, they don't make them anymore, son. There's a limited run. You're not going to get it, and even if they did make it, he's not getting that for Christmas. It's too much. And he said something like, "Yeah, but Santa Claus's elves make the toys." I was like, "Okay, you keep thinking that, boy." I'll get him like a model one about this big.
Yeah.
There you go. There's your barge.
You weren't specific enough in your letter.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Bless him.
Yeah. But that's it. I do think just on that sort of, I think it's important that we get the kids involved in Star Wars to ensure that 30 years from now we've still got a franchise to keep us entertained.
Yeah.
Someone had a good poll on Twitter today, actually, and it was about whether the modern figures are better than the vintage figures. And it's very easy for me to say someone that, because I'm full of nostalgia about the original figures, that I just say straight away, well, of course the vintage figures are better than, but then if I put myself in the mind of a child and I can just go by my son, who's 7, he would much rather, this, that he can pose about and all that, and it's much better detail than he would the original Luke Jedi. But I would personally have the other one, but that's because, and I thought it was a good thing, a lot of people were sort of chiming in on what they thought about it, because I think they're mainly talking about G.I. Joe. They were comparing the 6-inch Snake Eyes to the original one, and which one the kid would find better now. If you gave both of them to them right now, which one would they want? And I think it sort of everyone kind of agreed that they'd want the newer one because it looks more accurate, it moves better, and all that kind of thing. But you know, adult people that had them as kids are always going to go for the, well, maybe not Nick, actually. I think, Nick, you'd always go for the modern, wouldn't you?
The modern, yeah. Yeah, you've caught me off guard there, Tim. I've temporarily switched off from the conversation. I'm actually chatting online. I don't know why I keep doing that, Steve. If no one knows who Alan Partridge is, you won't have any clue why I'm speaking in that
Should we just
voice.
remove him from the stream?
Yeah, so see you later, fellas. No, please don't do that. I was listening to everything going on, but then I'm writing this message and I just really did switch off then. I do apologise, Tim. That's a rude guest, isn't it? I'm sorry.
It's just a disgrace. No, I was just saying that you prefer modern figures, don't you?
Yeah, well, the thing about that is the whole vintage line is I love the mix of everything. The fact that the figure is obviously the best it can be, screen accuracy, and then you've got the classic vintage, you know, the reminder of the past is in the card, isn't it? You know,
Yeah,
new and old together. So that's what I like about the vintage. Yeah, the vintage collection. Yeah,
it's an odd one. That I mean, again, I think the 6-inch stuff that they're doing with G.I. Joe at the moment looks quite interesting. And a lot of like my kids' nieces and nephews and what have you, they're playing with like some of the 12-inch like the shampoo bottle style figures. It's what they seem to go with. Not my cup of tea at all. Didn't introduce those to my kids. No child abuse going on there. But the 6-inch style, I think what I loved as a kid was the fact that with the 3 3/4, you were able to put them in a vehicle and fly that around the garden.
Mm.
And I think that's the bit that a lot of the smaller lines are missing these days, is those vehicles. So if you said modern G.I. Joe articulation in the 3 3/4 scale against vintage G.I. Joe in 3 3/4 scale, yeah, I think the modern ones are definitely better. But if you're comparing 6-inch to vintage, as a kid, I think they'd probably still go with the vintage, just because of the world building you can do. You can stick that figure in a vehicle and throw them around the room, take them in a bath, those other bits and pieces that you can do. You just can't do with the 6-inch scale.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's one of the reasons why the 6-inch scale's for adults more, isn't it? Collectibles and whatever.
Exactly.
Bike Scout 74 says modern figures are clearly better than vintage in terms of accuracy, but for our generation, vintage is golden because of the nostalgia. That's the thing. It's as I said, I think I said it on Twitter. It's like people are blinded because of the nostalgia. They're biased because of the nostalgia. It's hard to admit that a new modern figure is better than the one you had as a kid because of the nostalgia and the memories that you have of that figure. So.
La, not listening. It's that nostalgia takes over completely.
Yeah.
So easy. But again, that's part of the hook of the vintage collection, is the nostalgia for those cards, that card back, and the fact that it brings back that. God, I remember seeing that in the toy store. It's why they brought it back on that side. So definitely powerful.
Millennium Falcon says, "Hi boss, did you see the comic on Usual Mike's channel featuring you as a cartoon character?" Yes, I did, and he sent me it actually before he was going to put it in his video. I saw that. Yeah, me and Mike. Was it about the playset? Was it about the playset?
Our reactions to the Carbon Freezing Chamber.
Yeah. Go.
And the extra person in the comic strip is the guy who drew us. Yeah, the artist included himself alongside you and me.
Right. Is that Millennium Falcon, do you think? Do you think he's the guy? Did you draw it, Millennium Falcon? Let us know in the comments if you drew it. Yeah, I did. I saw it. It's funny.
Supreme Snoke was the YouTuber. Supreme Snoke.
Oh, right. Okay.
Different.
Josh B says, "I'm just glad they are releasing the 3.75 G.I. Joe line." Yeah, I've watched a couple of videos about that, and it's the Toys R Us ones, isn't it? It's not like the Star Wars retro, replicas of the original Star Wars figures. The G.I. Joes aren't. They're just the modern-y ones repacked on retro cards, which is a bit of a shame. I think if you're going to do retro cards
in a giant
and retro figures, you've got to have the original things.
But is that not the same as the vintage collection?
Well, yeah, it kind of is, but they're marketing it as like the retro line, you know.
Right. Okay.
So
I haven't seen too much of that, unfortunately. So I don't know.
yeah. I mean, GI Joe's not really my thing. Although I think Mike, you asked me on one of my Q&A videos. I think you might have asked it in the last one for this weekend what I thought of those. I think you asked. I think it was you anyway.
Yeah.
And
Are you going to get any? Are you going to get any? Are they
I've ordered
immensely?
I've ordered the white one. Is it Storm Shadow? Is that his name?
Yeah.
I've ordered him. But because I just
Lovely,
think I love ninjas. I'm from the 80s. I love ninjas. There's a film called Enter the Ninja with a white ninja in it, and it was a brilliant film back in the day.
Just stay there, Tim. Hang on. Keep talking.
So I'm going to have him. I'm just going to have him somewhere on a random shelf, you know, with his holding his sword like that.
What scale's that one in?
Oh, that's
3.75. I don't like the 6-inch
Three?
GI Joes.
Right.
They're not for me. I don't like them at all.
Okay.
Not interested whatsoever in those.
You're going to end up with him on the barge or something, maybe.
No, I won't put a ninja on the barge.
No.
He'll just be on a random.
This is what I wanted to show you, Tim. That was a good game. This is a NES game called The Wrath of the Black Manta, I think it's called. Is that right? Yeah. Wrath of the Black Manta. That's a ninja game. I haven't played it for years, but he's got like the throw-in stars and everything. And when he jumps, he does the little barrel roll thing. Yeah, let me hold it up properly. Sorry. Anyone know that game?
I don't remember that one.
I don't want to go off piece, but since you mentioned ninjas, I just thought I'd show you that.
I know on your Donkey Kong machine you'll have loads of ninja games, though, won't you?
Oh, well, let me know. Give me a list, and I'll have a look and see what
Was
we
it
got.
Ninja? Is it Ninja Gaiden? Is that how it's spelled?
Oh, you mentioned that the other night, yeah. And I'll if you ping us a couple in a message, I'll go through. I haven't checked any of the other stuff you've asked me about, so I'll look into that for you.
Well, about Hasbro, don't care what the core of what made those toys so great. I think you might be talking about G.I. Joe.
George, different part of the house.
Darth Eddie, hi mate. The Hoth
Sorry.
Web retro board game with Snowspeeder Luke is taking its sweet time arriving in the US retail. Hopefully it'll surface in stores soon. Yeah, they've started to arrive in the UK, and I know Mike's. You've had yours for ages, haven't you?
Sorry, I was just adjusting my mic. What was the question?
The Hoth retro game. You've had that for ages.
Oh yeah, they came out May the 1st. We got them May the 1st in this country.
Okay,
really early. I don't know why. Yeah. I was expecting usually stuff like that is May the 4th. We also in Australia we always sort of have a May the 4th release at a store called Zing Pop Culture, but this year it was May the 1st. I don't know why they picked that day, and it was all available. Go in there and oh look, the board game's there, the retro figures have come in. Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, my retro figures turned up a couple of weeks ago, but the board game, a few of my mates got that today. I think mine's included in a pre-order, which with a figure that's coming out.
Same. I've got to wait.
I hate it when that happens.
Yeah, I shouldn't have done that. I did it. I bought the game, and then it was with ID Toys. Then that's when I got those extra Lukes. Do you remember the Luke Jedi? But from what you say, that's worth waiting for anyway. I can't wait to get that figure. After you've hyped it up as well, I can't wait. It looks good, man.
Well, the one from the 3-pack.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh.
But I'll have to wait for the Hoth game now as well, which is a bit of a bummer, bit of a pain.
Well,
Yeah,
I think
it's the one, isn't it, from that set? You know, you've got all the others apart from that one that comes with the game.
Yeah.
It's one of those. I think even if you're doing the pre-order, you're looking at it and go, well, they're due to come out at the same time. But it's sod's law that one will come out earlier, and you just got to wait for them all to be ready. But yeah, it looks like a fun set to complete it. Yeah, it should. And again, I think us lot in the UK, lucky enough to get the display stand in Asda. If you're lucky enough to bribe one of the managers to walk off with one of those, it should make for a really nice display with the games and the full set of the retro figures.
Yeah,
all
that
together.
stand. Somebody's got me one of those. It's in their loft. but they live in Essex, so I've got to drive to Essex to get it. But I will do one day. I'll meet up with him, and he's
Oh, by the
saved
way-
it for me.
By the way, have you noticed that on ID Toys? I was having a look around there yesterday, and they've got like they're giving away, well, not giving away, but they're selling the Hoth board game for like is it a tenner or something like that.
The Hoth board game, or the
Yeah,
Death
with
Star
Tarkin.
board,
Oh, sorry, I'm sorry.
the one with Tarkin in it.
The one with Tarkin.
Yeah.
I think they're
Yeah.
giving a set for 6 or something.
Yeah.
So that's if you want a second Tarkin, that'd be, or to open one, that would be quite good. But just
Yeah,
not mention, I noticed that yesterday.
we actually play that board game. Me and my kids, they like
Oh,
it.
do you?
Yeah.
All right, is it?
It's all right. Yeah,
Yeah. Keeps them entertained.
yeah.
You have to give that a go.
Absolutely.
That Storm Shadow is actually 4
I
inches.
gotta-
It's considered
sorry,
a
Tim.
modern era figure with updated builds styled in the 80s figures. Yeah. I'm not a massive like
I
GI
was
Joe
just-
nerd. I don't really know a massive amount. I used to have the Action Force figures when I was a kid, the British versions with the non-articulated arms, and then you started to get the GI Joes in the packaging, but still with Action Force packaging. But then I was just totally on Star Wars, and but you know, just the Ninja one for me. That'll do. I don't really care what line he's from or
I was just
whatever.
going to say, Tim.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you. I'm going to have to go. It's 20 past 8, and I got to take my daughter to school. I have to go.
Probably wise, mate.
Thank you
Yeah.
for having me. Love
no
this. No
worries.
Thank you, Chris.
Nice to
Good
see you, mate.
you.
Thank you, Tim.
Have a
Good to
good
see you,
one.
mate.
See, catch you
Sun's
again
coming
soon.
up. Oh, no. All right. Thank you for having me. I'll see you later.
Cheers,
mate.
mate.
Take it easy. I don't think we're going to be
Glad
too
that
much
was
longer anyway. We've been going 2 hours, 20 minutes. Time flies, doesn't it?
Does.
When you're
Yeah,
having
absolutely.
fun.
Absolutely. I suppose it's worth asking, are there any burning questions in the chat that people want to, that have to get off their chests to us at the moment? Let's see if that's going to
Yeah,
trigger
morning.
anything. I can't see anything at the moment.
Look at the chat here.
Just,
I've got to address Martin Roskilly talking about these lap dance. He's really making me laugh tonight in the chat there. Martin Roskilly talking about Partridge. I love that. That's so funny. He's going on about lap dancing figures or something.
Oh, no. Yeah. Do you find me sexy?
Maybe we could do that for what's it called, Patrick Snyder. Oh, do you like my cones? Well, loads of people won't get what we're on about. That's so funny.
well, that took a turn. Just touching on the Millennium Falcon, yes, he did draw the comic that we were talking about earlier. Apparently he's got 2 channels, so yeah. Was it Snoke that he was referring to? I'm not sure. But yes, there we go.
Why are vintage first order stormtroopers peg warmers? Because they overproduced them and they came out in the Walmart exclusive first,
Mhm.
and they're not as good as Imperial stormtroopers.
to put it frankly, yeah, but they're still quite good. I'm glad I snagged a load of the Black Series ones, 3.75 for £3.75 in the Entertainer. So I still think they look really cool. Those figures, I do like the First Order Stormtrooper a lot.
I do like the design. I think those particular figures, they're quite tough to get the arms into a decent firing position.
Yeah, you're right, Chris. Yeah.
So it's one of those that you kind of look at it going, well, I'm assuming at some point they're going to update the mold with a better version, and that's the one you'd want an army build with.
Yeah.
They're still better than the 5 POA because I can't. I mean, much as I hate the fact that you can't bend an elbow, man. You know what I mean? It's don't care about legs. It's all about doing this. You know?
The second gun falls out of that peg on the leg as well too easily.
Oh, yeah, that's a pain.
Yeah.
Are you guys happy with the current assortment of vintage collection coming out? I'll start. Yes, I am. I think the 2 waves that we can expect towards the end of the year are decent waves. What about you guys?
first.
Go on.
Who tags first? You tag first. I tag first.
I'll let you.
Yeah, no, I'm happier now. I'm happier than I was on the whatever it was, June the 20. Was it the? I don't know. Whatever. It was the end of June. That thing. I'm happier now. All this new news coming in. Yeah, absolutely. And there's more to come. There's still gaps that will be revealed. So, yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah.
So what about the wave that's imminent now? What you happy with that wave?
Which one's this one?
Wolf, K2SO,
There's pictures already hitting the internet now. It's in Target or whatever, isn't it? Or wherever. Yeah, awesome. The Wolf wave. And what else is in that wave?
Power Droid.
Gold Droids. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, there's some good stuff coming up, man. So it's looking good. I'm happy.
Yeah, it's looking like a couple of decent waves, certainly to round out the year. And they're not all like your top tier characters as well. You are getting some of the slightly deeper cuts. I mean, obviously the Power Droid, Wolf isn't exactly top tier in name. Yes, we know there's some problems with the sculpt, but it's a slightly more background character. K2SO, really looking forward to that one. And the Luke is, while he's not necessarily brand new, never had him before, it is another one of those cars that we need for the 96. And then looking ahead to the next wave, Chirrut, he's not exactly like top billing, good character, but yeah, it's looking like a couple of really good waves to finish out the year.
Do you know what Hasbro need to do with this? They just need to do it. That he's got to be next, man. They can't not do that, man.
Question for you, Nick: will a quick shot series return?
Oh, I want to do that soon. I really am going to do that very soon. Yeah.
Starting with Ray.
I'm on kind of a period of being off work now, so I can get my teeth into that. Maybe get some daily uploads on the go. Yeah, absolutely. Who said that question? Was that Anthony
Robinson.
Anthony Robinson, right? Yeah, cool. Yeah, definitely coming up soon. That
46 Zone says, do you think the Millennium Falcon will make it to the clearance sales? I personally don't, unless Target for some reason like overstock it. But it's considering it's going to be it certainly won't come down in price in the parks.
It won't in the parks, but I'm not sure. Is it going to be available in the parks?
Yeah,
as well.
Yeah, it's for the parks, isn't it? They've just had to partner with Target while this whole crisis is on, haven't they? Because they can't. Yeah, they've got no avenue to sell it while no one's in the parks.
So do you think there's possibly something built into the deal that Target are not allowed to reduce its price whilst it's out there, so that it's not a case of, well, we want you to buy it at full price in the park rather than get it for half the price down at Target as once you've left?
Could be, or they've just got it for like 3 months until the park's properly open and everyone's, Well,
and then they take all the stock off the shelves, ship it off to Galaxy's Edge, or
maybe they've just got a set allocation. I don't know.
Because it's one of those. I mean,
the first lot sold out straight away, didn't they?
It did. It absolutely did. I think it's once, and obviously that's where your hardcore Star Wars fans are going to pick up on it, and they know it's coming or are aware of it. Get in there early, get the deals, and what have you. But I think once it actually hits retail stores, you might end up with some of it sitting there, and it depends on how long Target are willing to sit on the stock.
Yeah.
Because again, I mean, we don't see any stuff really coming in and sitting for long enough to go to clearance at all. It's all online. But in America, you are seeing a lot more stuff go to clearance, in some cases within a week of it hitting the shelves. I can't see this happening in that case, but it's 3 months is a long time in retail.
Yeah, you never know. Will there be a full wave of Black Series archive collection, and who might be in the wave? So as far as I'm aware, there will be, and the figure that's 100% is Cody. He won the poll, so he's going to be one, and then there'll be 3 others in the wave. And I would imagine they might take some inspiration from some of the other figures that were in that poll, maybe, that didn't quite win it, or they might just come up with their own ideas.
Yeah.
I could see them doing Gree, you know. Could see them doing Commander Gree, because that was a Toys R Us exclusive at the time, and it's quite a sought after figure. Good way of getting it out to the mass market.
Yeah. The one I was hoping. Oh, sorry, go on, Nick.
No, I'm sorry. I was just replying. Someone in the chat, Keith W. Yes to Dryden Boss. Absolutely, he'd be on my top of my list for solo.
Yeah,
vintage collection.
I'm happy to skirt back to that. Just on the Black Series, for me, it would have been the Scarif Trooper, like the regular grunt, as it were, to come into the archive line, because he was a Walgreens exclusive, I think. Whereas the squad leader was the mainline one. It seemed a bit backwards for army building as far as that one goes. But no, absolutely, Dryden Boss in the vintage collection. I still think it's criminal that we didn't get the main baddie from Solo in that line.
And the main baddie from the Attack of the Clones, and that's 2 decades old.
Yeah.
So who's into that Captain Cardinal? Nobody that I know. Personally. Smell my cheese. Monkey tennis. I can't do the impression like you, mate.
That's brilliant. What was it? A Salacious Rum. Oh.
I'm gonna tell everyone something actually. Right, Nick here. I get daily voice messages on WhatsApp from Nick, just like doing Alan Partridge and David Brent.
David Brent. Mate, brilliant. Bosk's Bounty. Bit of a nerd. Yeah, collecting Star Wars. No, he's joking. I'm just as bad. Guilty. Yeah. Oh man,
you love it. Josh B, thanks for the stream. Got to go. Can't wait for the next one. Yeah, cheers, mate. Thanks for stopping by. We're not going to be much longer anyway, so you probably won't miss too much, mate. Don't worry. We're not going to be too much longer. I don't think. Just go through some more of the questions.
Yes, Matt, you were saying, should we start at 9 tonight? You know, just start at 9 rather than 10. And I jokingly said, yeah, absolutely no problem at all. It just means that we'll be going longer than we normally do, because we still carry on chatting. It's always the way, isn't it? It's, happy to do so.
I'm so confused by Hasbro got rid of 5 POA figures when used to fill gaps on the shelf, and great ones like Rogue One and Solo, and yet we still don't. Yeah, we talked about this quite a lot with the 5 POA. I think everyone knows my opinion. I'm quite pleased they've gone, but I can understand why people want them, but I just think ultimately they're for kids, aren't they? That line is for kids, and if the kids ain't buying them, they ain't going to make them.
But some of them were so good, weren't they? That we can't knock the sculpts are so good. But then they started to up the articulation, so it was like 7 POA or whatever, or 9 or whatever. So then that's the whole argument again. Why don't you just give full articulation?
Exactly.
But it's cost or something, isn't it? The more the articulation, the higher the cost. But
but if the kids aren't buying a 5 POA at a tenner,
exactly,
but the collectors are buying super articulated at 13, then just make more of the 13.
Yeah.
It's. I mean, you say the kids aren't buying. You say the kids aren't buying, but a lot of that came from overproduction of the Force Awakens stuff and the Last Jedi stuff, and even to an extent some of the Rogue One stuff that was just not selling through. I think it satisfied the demand for those figures and those characters initially, but then you ended up with 3 or 4 different versions of Kylo Ren in the Force Awakens line, and the same again with Rey and Poe and all these other bits and pieces that just meant that you weren't getting new and varied enough characters into the line. Arguably, Solo was probably the best line of the 5 POA stuff, certainly for the variety of characters you got there.
Yeah,
and I think that's where it really does miss it, and I don't think that was hurting the vintage collection, the two existing at the same time. Yes,
it wasn't. But I would, it knocked me that you would get a 5 POA Beckett and Rio, and you don't get them on the vintage card with all the super. You know, imagine how good a Rio would be in the vintage collection. And
Oh
then you've
yeah,
got this inferior.
even
You've got this
Val,
inferior.
great.
Yeah, but don't get me wrong. The 5 POA Rio is decent looking, but you know, if it's in that line and not in the vintage collection, then that annoys me a bit. But
That L3, that looks good. I bought that in Florida in Disney Park, but it's the legs are terrible. Just imagine that one with articulation. Got the ball joint head, which is good. But anyway.
yeah, so it's one of those things, isn't it? I mean, you know, do the Galaxy of Adventure stuff sell? They've already cancelled that now, haven't they? And replaced it with Mission Fleet. Is that right? Does Galaxy of Adventure still?
I'm not sure if it's official, because they did release the images of Ahsoka and Maul and what have you not too long ago.
But they upped the scale, didn't they, to 5? So they what were the ones that came in those tubes? They were just repacks.
Sorry, yeah. Galaxy of Adventures.
They never sold, did they? Because that
No.
lasted waves and it's gone. You know, so kids weren't buying those, were they?
No. But again, sometimes those sort of lines are only meant to last for a quick shot, throw them out there to tie in with the YouTube series, and then be done. Like I say, it was the main line that was the one that kind of killed it with a lot of and again, costume changes. You look at The Last Jedi and Force Awakens. Finn looks like he's wearing practically the same outfit. They released a X-Wing Poe, which you could already get several other ways previously. The only difference being the helmet was removable properly on this one.
Same with that the alien pilot with the removable helmet as well.
Yeah,
same.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just there wasn't enough variety to make those lines successful. By the time you actually get to a line that has a lot of variety to it, they've already given up, and they weren't given the marketing push for Solo. So
we'll have to see how well that Mission Fleet stuff sells, won't we? Because that looks like it's got quite a lot of like playability with it for kids, little vehicles and stuff. Let's see if that sells. You know, let's see if kids are actually interested in that.
Yeah.
And then if it makes Hasbro any money, you'll soon know, because they'll make more of it. If it doesn't, it'll be gone in a year.
Absolutely.
So
yeah,
maybe that's a test. To me, they're sort of like trying to find what the kid wants. Like they tried the 5 POA, they've tried the tubed ones, they've tried the 5-inch ones. Now they're going to those 2.5-inch ones, Mission Fleet. It's almost like they sort of don't really know what the kid wants, and they're sort of just feeding it out there, trying to work out what the kid wants.
I mean, I was losing hope that kids even wanted to have a figure in their hands anymore. But then again, I was walking in Asda yesterday, and they've got all the Fortnite figures. I mean, what scale are they? Are they 5-inch, 3 3/4, or are they bigger? They're only small scale, but if there's a demand for them, and then
that's because the kids love like my daughter's year's school. All the boys talk about all day at school is Fortnite.
Well, of course, what I'm trying to say to him is that if I thought the kids, it's just proof that they want a figure. I thought kids were not interested in figures, like they were just more interested in this. You know what I mean? Games and stuff. But if there's a product there that they want to buy, that's good. So on the back of something successful like the Mandalorian, I know a lot of adults like that. But if they had a good piece of Star Wars that they could sell, and figures will become, popular again. Just
maybe,
as Chris always says, it's plummeted after the films plummeted.
Yeah,
their interest.
You think the films are to blame partly then?
Well, this steadily went downhill, didn't they? But did you notice as well with the Rogue One line in the UK? I think the Force Awakens stuff was a tenner when it first came out, and then it was like £9 for the Rogue One. So that was almost like we were trying to lower it to suck people in. Maybe, I don't know. Or
we are the kids.
Yeah,
very good point. We are.
Yeah.
Salacious Rum, how you doing?
Is it 4 into the Fortnite? Thanks for that, George.
Rhino Hobby says, "Do kids play with figs? Do kids play with figs these days?" Yeah, that's what we're kind of. Yeah, I don't know. My kid does. He's 7. He loves but it's probably because I love it, you know.
It will, yes.
So it's just going to rub off on him a bit, isn't it? But at the same time, he loves his iPad. He loves playing tag with Ryan or whatever it is. That silly boy from YouTube. Not me, the other kid.
I don't know that one, Tim. You're on your own there, mate.
He's that little American kid that sits there with his mum and dad just reviewing eggs and stuff that open with toys in. You know, he's got a whole line of stuff, Ryan's toys or whatever. Multi-millionaire, you know. My father loves playing with figures and ships. Good.
Yeah.
That's how it should be. They need to make a Star Wars game that caters to kids, which in turn may do the same as Fortnite, which makes the kids want them figures. Yes, good. Getting on the video game.
Yeah. And I mean, they've tried some of that a little bit with some of the mobile apps and what have you. But again, you've almost lost them by that point because they're involved in the screen. It's then the computer game. I think once you're properly invested in that side of things, you probably aren't playing with tactile toys so much. I mean, like you say, my kids play with toys, but I think that's probably because that's my influence in introducing to them. It's far easier to, rather than show a child how to play and role play with the figures, than it is to just go, well, there's a tablet, crack on, lad, sort yourself out. So it's that sort of thing.
Just because that's what's trending now, and it like more things on devices and stuff. But I think, you know, give it a chance, it could always easily come back because you can't beat something physical and real in your hand, you know, to touch it and see it.
Question for you there, Chris, from C-Moles.
I did not. The series itself, the TV series, did absolutely nothing for me. So I never sought out the figures. And again, I think they were quite expensive when they did come over here for essentially a 5 POA figure. I think they were about 10, 11 quid. They weren't large quantity at all. They looked decent. They looked like very good representations of the characters in the show. But like I say, the show did absolutely nothing for me. I don't know if any of you guys saw it at all.
I saw one episode and just immediately thought it's not for me. So then I didn't pick up any of the figures. Although I quite like the packaging of the figures, but again, they're not for me.
No.
Daniel Chart says, my son collects Marvel Legends 6-inch figures. He loves playing with figures. Yeah. I think the people that are like into it, like it's always going to rub off on your kids without forcing it on them. They just want to be like you, don't they? They want to be into the same things you're into and stuff. So, but then you've got a generation of people that have kids when they're in their 20s, and they were playing Fortnite themselves. So,
yes, yeah. But again,
by the way, Tim, thanks for beating me to the VC Echo base, mate. I knew you were going to bring that up when I saw you. I know. I need him, man. I didn't have him. He's one of the ones that I've left because he was just always expensive. So when I saw him come up on that Facebook group for I think £50, I just had to get it because
I'm not happy with Tim either, Daniel Chart. He beat me to the what's it called? Magna Guard or whatever. I was just onto it, and then there he is. He's right there.
So I've got a box from that haul, and I haven't opened it yet because I'm waiting for another box that's coming from America because I've bought a few things from America that a nice guy sent to me. I've paid for it all and everything, but it's just cheaper to get it on eBay over there and have it shipped over here than prices over here. And I wanted to do a haul video for both, but the American one's taken a bit of time. It's stuck at Heathrow. So in this box, I think on that Facebook group, I bought 8. It cost me like 420 quid or something. I was like, what am I doing? I even bought one that I didn't even want. Darth Malgus, I think it was. Doesn't really interest me that much. I bought him.
Did that Malgus that you got come with the first time as a figure sticker?
I don't know. I can't remember. I think he might have done actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you want to swap?
Well, it depends. I like that. Mine doesn't have that. I
No.
don't like that. But
So I do apologise,
basi-
Daniel. I do apologise,
Yeah.
mate.
Basically, Daniel, if you want to get him back, just pay a quick visit to Heathrow and nick his box from America straight away.
So one of the things in that box from America is the Luke Death Star escape, and I always thought I had that figure, and when I did my room up and started putting things on the wall, I was like, "Where's Luke Skywalker Death Star escape VC-39? I think it is." So where the hell's that? And I've looked everywhere for it. I cannot find it. So I'm like, maybe I didn't have that one. So
that's an awful figure. I don't like that figure at all.
no.
I love the card, obviously, but the head is just so top heavy, and the legs are terrible, man. If they'd done the body of that VOTC Luke, it would have been a different story because he had like really good articulation.
But I think I got him off. I think I got him on eBay in America for like $30, which works out to be about £24. Whereas over here he's £50 wherever you get him, you know.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I got him in a job, you know, with a load of other figures as well that's coming over, which is good. So yeah, sorry, Daniel.
Sorry, not sorry.
Sorry, not sorry. Yeah. But did you collect the Empire Strikes Back 40th Anniversary Black Series? Yes, I have both waves, and I've ordered the third wave. So, yep.
It's good to see those showing up in Smiths as well, isn't it?
Yeah, that's good news. Yeah. On the pegs. Yeah, that's awesome.
Exactly.
Nice profile pic, Geekified Gamer.
Yeah. Awesome. Neil Fairbrother says, "Come on then, guys. I send you back in the time machine to get one vintage figure each. What do you pick?"
I want to answer this first because I saw his comment ages ago. I've been dying for us to answer this, but I'd have to get the Blue Sky Boba Fett. No question. Return of the Jedi, obviously.
Yeah,
that's me, definitely.
Chris,
it's an odd one. I mean, my favourite vintage figure is one that I've got loose. It's the Lando Calrissian Skiff Guard. Great figure. I'd love one on a card back, and obviously the Return of the Jedi bubbles were notorious for going horribly yellow. I think to be able to go back, get one of those, keep it absolutely pristine, that would probably be my choice. Not necessarily the rarest or anything like that, but it's the one that means the most to me from childhood.
That's an interesting choice, Chris. That it's just obviously that's your link, isn't it? It's got like a nostalgic kind of anchor to it. Oh, look, here he is.
Wow, see what you want to do. What you want to do, Chris, is get a made in Mexico that has the little hole punch in the back of the card, and that stop the bubbles going yellow. So,
the Black Dye Ewoks was talking about that.
Yeah,
I'm sure he knows about stuff like that, doesn't he?
You can pick one of those up for about £120, maybe.
So how does it stop that? How does it stop it going yellow? What was that again?
I think it's something to do with the trapped oxygen or something. I don't know. You know, it just releases something, allows the plastic to breathe or something.
Oh,
apparently, you know.
I didn't know that one. Thank you.
So I would go back and I would get Anakin on the Power of the Force card with the coin, and then I'd come forward again and I would sell it, and then I'd buy every other Star Wars figure with the money that raised from that one figure. Because that one's rare as rocking all shit.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's what I do.
I've never wanted that. I mean, I've got a greatest respect for Sebastian Shaw and him being, you know, old Anakin or whatever, you know what I mean? Or that's how I think the Force Ghost should have been as well. But I've never wanted a figure of him. You know, that figure, either the vintage one or even a modern one of redeemed Anakin Skywalker, you know?
It's not even back in the day, it was a bit of a boring figure, wasn't it?
Because it wasn't even didn't even have a ghost effect. They couldn't do that in those days anyway. But he just doesn't do anything really other than appear as a ghost. So
The card back's really funny as well. It's like an artist's impression drawing, isn't it? And he's all like,
Big grin on his face, and yeah.
Daniel Chart says, Nick, he has a spare Cantina bar section, Ellis Hellrot. Drop me a message on Facebook and he'll send it to you. There you go.
Wow, how about that? That's awesome. I mean, thanks a lot, Daniel. I've managed to kind of forget about the damage I've done to that, and it sort of is all right and stuff, but that'd be awesome. I mean, if it's going spare and I can add it. Oh yeah, what's this?
Daniel sent me the dome for that, so I thanked him for that because I had the rest of it. I was just missing the dome.
Actually, I need to get myself a PO box team. Everyone keeps saying to me, I need to get a PO box. I've got to maybe look into that. I don't know what it costs to do that or whatever. But
Anthony Robinson says, I missed out on the VC25 on that same sale. Which one's VC25? Is that R2D2, is it?
I can't remember. I'm waiting for that somewhere there in the chat. I'll have to look at me quick shots playlist. I can't remember 25 what it is. It might be R2.
Is that R2D2 on the sail barge?
Well.
That's just what's popped into my head, but I'm not sure.
It's quite funny that I always use that playlist, Tim, whenever I need to find out the number of a figure, as opposed to going on Google. I just look at my own bloody playlist and scroll down.
George Aikins says he's still got the vintage Hoth Trooper on card. Yeah, that's one I want with the red. That's a lovely, lovely one. That's definitely one I'm after.
Yeah.
Fair point. I just love the card backs and the fact that they introduce alternate heads, felt progression. I agree with the argument of the two lines running in tandem. Just to wish the quality transferred, yeah.
Sail barge R2. Where is he?
Yeah.
Oh, was it? Yeah. Oh, that's good.
Right there.
Plucked it out of thin air there for you.
Yeah, well done, Tim. It was you said
Good
that,
knowledge.
was it?
Yeah, good knowledge, Tim. Yeah.
Wacky monkey.
Don't be generous.
Generous lovers. How about that?
Salacious Rum comes out of some weird stuff on a lot of live streams. You just have to let him be. I would love a Revenge of the Sith Palpatine in red robe for the vintage collection, even Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah. That'd be nice.
Enough Emperor. Well, it was. It's like the one in your recent video, Nick, isn't it? That Palpatine should be in vintage collection.
Yeah. Oh, you mean old Palpatine, as in Return of the Jedi?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And do you agree with that, Chris? The fact that you could do the hard and soft goods like for the hood and the head, just like they did
Absolutely.
for the yeah.
Absolutely.
I know Bablet Booby, that guy, that YouTuber, he doesn't like that at all. But
I'm not a fan either.
Maybe, but I think that especially for him as well, I think it's a good mix. And you can't go wrong with that. So the hood is hard to do with soft goods.
It is, and especially as the entirety of Return of the Jedi, his hood is up. It's not like halfway through he goes, "Surprise! It's the Emperor." It's up there constantly. So you want it sculpted so that it's got the bit that comes down and sort of sags and then comes back up again.
That's it.
Which you can't do with soft goods particularly well.
Unless they can get like some sort of metal frame into the soft, so you can sculpt that shape. Which I don't know if have they done that before. Have they tried that with maybe Malgus? Actually, maybe add some sort of metal framing in it.
I don't think so at that scale. It's quite difficult to do.
They just need the 5 POA head, don't they?
Yeah,
that's what. Exactly. That's what we say. Get that, and also the hard goods hood, and then
it's Darth Maul, isn't it? Darth Maul does it with like the plastic hood.
His hood's not as good as Sidious, though. Is horrible.
No, granted, but it's that style of thing where it's you've got you can still have the super articulation from the neck down, but still maintain the proper look of the hood.
This fellow was another good mix of hard and soft.
Yeah,
he was good, but I
like that figure. I've got him.
It depends on how the light catches Sidious. Sometimes you can see the two different kind of tones of black, the soft robe and then the hard helmet. But I just think that it's just when the light catches it right, the silhouette of that, the shape of that hood is just spot on.
Yeah.
Wherever he is. Here he is.
What do you reckon the odds are that we'll get a re-release of the Bespin Guards and the Ugnaughts?
See, look at that. Just from that
He's
angle. Anyway.
cracking figure. Cracking figure.
How was that not over?
Do you think we've missed the boat for the re-release of those figures?
What, for the year?
Well, just like the play sets coming out, isn't it? And we haven't got those, you know.
Well, it depends. It depends what those other gaps are, or what other surprises they could fling in. But I don't think it's going to happen anything like that. I still hope that a Lobot will appear, but I don't know.
Well, I mean, just looking ahead. I mean, what anniversaries have we got coming up in the next couple of years before Return of the Jedi?
Attack of the Clones.
When's that? Is that next year?
2022, isn't it?
So we've still got next year. Doesn't necessarily have a particular anniversary.
No.
So potentially, for me, you could see a Bespin Guard or an Ugnaught peppered into a couple of waves next year, and I don't think anyone would complain about that. Again, goes towards building out the original 96 on vintage cards, and they're decent figures.
Yeah, a lot of people complain about the hats coming off too easily, don't they, with the Bespin Guards?
I've never had a problem.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it Juno Eclipse, her helmet? Yeah, not helmet. Her hat. She's got a hat that comes on and off, and I don't have. That never seems to be a problem.
Yeah, I've never had a problem with the Bespin Guards with that. No. And again, they're not exactly the tiniest of things. I mean, for me, it's the comlink that came with the Stormtrooper in the Scanning Crew set, which is absolutely minute. That's one of the nightmare things that pops off and disappears. But no, the hats, no problem at all. Absolutely get them back out.
Do you think there's too much being released in such short amount of time? For the Black Series, 100%. When they announced those new boxes, and they said here's a load of new figures in the new boxes and a load of repacks in the new boxes, that would have been enough. But then they said here's 7 Rebels figures in new boxes as well. There's a lot to pre-order for people, and it hasn't stopped since, has it? There's they're going full force with those new boxes.
Absolutely. So, and I don't know if that was them trying to get out an example of what it'll look like once you build out a collection. Like, this is what a set will look like once you've got it, but they didn't just want to release a bunch of Rebels figures and that was it, with only one new sculpt. They wanted to, like I say, show more new stuff. And we all know that the Black Series is their darling line at the moment. Until they start stacking up on store shelves as not selling, I don't think they'll have hit the excessive amounts. I mean, if you go back and you look at things like the Revenge of the Sith line or some of the previous ones, they definitely had more quantity back then. Yes, they were cheaper, but it probably equates to about the same sort of amount that the Black Series is having at the moment.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But they're much higher price point, aren't they? Much higher.
They are, but
more than double.
They are, but like I say, the Revenge of the Sith line is vast, huge amounts of figures that came out with that, which I appreciate they are much cheaper, but far more of them. It sort of it balances out, plus all the vehicles, play sets, and all the other bits and pieces that came out in that line. I say you're probably getting a lot more back then than you are now in terms of Black Series.
You're right, Chris, and it hits home about that when you look at fellow figure collectors. I don't know if you know that YouTuber James. He's got like all of those lines in his basement. He's got a vintage collection as well, but he's got all of the Power of the Jedi, what you just said, the Revenge of the Sith, and you can see it's right there. What how much they covered in that span of 1 year or 2 years or whatever, and it's just so much more.
Yeah.
Fast stuff.
Thanks, Neil.
And
appreciate the comment, mate.
Good mix of characters as well. Good especially the 30th anniversary. That was a good line of figures, wasn't it? For a bit of
great line.
Good mix of characters.
Simon, I think Chris talked about this earlier. They tend to just switch the $sign to a £sign, and the UK gets stung for everything, don't we? We're always more expensive than America. We always get stung.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
But
the
it was at the same time. It was $3.49 at Comics and Cocktails, so it's 50 quid difference. It's quite a lot.
Yeah.
That's a bit closer. And I mean, I don't think the exchange rate is massively different at the moment anyway. But it's always been that way, and I think you can probably justify that actually shipping it outside of where they're going to normally maybe costs a bit more to get it over here. But yeah. So, yes.
But now, how long ago did George Aitken go and go to walk the dog? I was going to say goodbye, George, but it might have been half an hour ago. I don't know.
No, it's not. We're nearly caught up. That was at 11:50, so that's 10 minutes ago.
Okay.
Yeah. Rhino Hobbies $3.99 for the Falcon is mental. Yeah. So it is overpriced. Did you guys have a barge buddy, and who was it? What does he mean?
What's that?
I think there was somebody in America to ship it over.
Oh, right. No. Myself and Nick were at the
right place at the right time.
We were one of the idiots. Well, not idiots, but we were one of the people sitting there ready for them to drop on eBay and be one of the people that were fastest finger first of the 400 that were left over, and we were lucky enough to get one.
Yeah, they were gone in 10 minutes, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And can you confirm, were you only allowed to buy one, or could you buy another? Because after I bought one, it said buy another ? Or buy again?
No,
or something?
I think when you got through, it knows that you'd already bought one.
All right, fine.
Yeah.
Because obviously I wasn't going to go again, but actually look at what they're going for now. Bloody 3 times the price, thrice the price.
Keith W, you and me both, mate. I've always wanted one of those as well. The Luke turret cardback's great. I'd love that. They should do that. They should do that in the VC as well.
Absolutely.
100% agreement. I will just get another farm boy out there, you know, just a standard.
Does anyone have or seen in person the Canadian VC20 Yoda variant on the Return of the Jedi cardback? So I've been trying to. I didn't want to let this out of the bag, but I've been trying to get one of those recently. It's going to cost a lot, but my friend in America has been, because on eBay.ca for Canada, which is where a lot of them come up when they do come up, they're happy to post to North America, but they don't often post to the UK. So even when you're on ebay.co.uk and you put in Vintage Collection VC20, they don't come up because it'll only show you people that can deliver ship to your country. So I go on ebay.ca and then look, and then so there was one that was 499 Canadian dollars, which worked out to be about, I think it's like 320 American dollars, I think.
That's insanely expensive now, wasn't it? Only
you could almost
100 quid or something not long ago.
You could almost buy your own ship for that.
But I thought it's like a cool thing to have, because I know, Nick, you've got the you paid a fair amount for the set, I know, but
yeah, I did. Yeah, I jumped on that.
You bought that set for the Jar Jar Carbonite.
But I got the whole thing, obviously, and
but the reason you bought it was for Jar Jar Carbonite, right?
It was for that, yeah, and also I fancied having the Lost Line altogether.
Yeah.
I really did. I'm glad I've got all that. But the thing is, it was one of those things on eBay when the seller. So it's automated, isn't it? When they drop the price for anyone who's watching it, and I just saw it and I thought, I've got to get it. And I text my mate and I told him, what should I do? He said, get it now. That's your chance. And I did. I don't regret that at all. Whatever it was I paid for, I can't remember. But
yeah,
considering I think the Jar Jar now. They're asking now more for just the Jar Jar than I got for the whole lot. So
yeah. So when it comes to like a rare VC figure, I've got the Yak, came with a barge, brilliant. I've got that. I don't have things like Shea Vizsla, if that's what it's called. So when I was thinking about buying something that's like
I'm going to do what you do, Tim. Hang on.
when something is like really rare, I was looking at that Canadian Yoda and I was thinking I might try and get that to be like a grail piece of my vintage collection, as it were. So maybe one day I'll get it.
Yeah. So just to back up on the barge buddy, sorry, 46 Zone. The barge buddy was mentioned in the directions in the booklet thing, as it were, and it was someone to help you assemble the barge. So did you have somebody help you assemble the barge?
Oh yeah. My son
With
helped
your
me.
barge buddy.
There it is.
Yeah, see that? I mean, it's a great. I can understand why it's expensive. It's rare and everything, but it's
It looks crap on this camera, though. Sorry, guys, it's not a very good camera on this laptop.
The expanded universe as a whole thing doesn't interest me as much as the characters from the actual films or TV shows or whatever. So
Tim, you want this, don't you?
I'd rather have the Canadian Yoda.
Yeah, do you know what? I quite like that now you've been talking about it.
James Andrews says, I'm so excited about the 501st ARC Troopers. I hope they'll be available in the UK. Any news on where to get them or when to yeah. So I'm pretty sure In Demand Toy Star Action Figures will have them. I think it will be late August that they'll get them to be able to order them. I think. You're not even going to be able to get them on Hasbro Pulse till September in America. So it'll be a while. It'll be a while yet.
Yeah. See what happens with that.
I honestly thought you'd read the price wrong in your video yesterday. My jaw dropped. Yeah, it's expensive.
Oh dear.
I love a new Jar Jar. Grew up with him. Love him. Was my first ever figure after going to see the Phantom Menace when I was a kid. Right, that is the end of the chat. I've pretty much read it all. We have been going for 3 hours, 6 minutes, believe it or not. And Chris, you said this would happen. You said you'll start an hour early, you'll just go longer, and we have. But we've still got 100 people in the watching, and I think we topped at 172. I think I saw at one point when I looked, which is awesome.
Jarrett Barnes there. I think it was this guy asking about Boba v Django earlier. Has that been answered? That obviously not. Maybe.
No. Go for it.
Person? Are you asking who's better? I just think that together, I love Jango Fett in Attack of the Clones, and that's just one thing. And then obviously Fett in the sequel trilogy. So it's like having a favorite in two different trilogies, isn't it? Jango's my favorite in that prequels. Fett my favorite in not the sequels, the original.
It's a weird one, isn't it? Because Fett doesn't really do a lot, does he, in the films?
Tamura Morris,
he dies pretty randomly. Yeah. He looks very cool, obviously.
Mm.
I think Boba looks better. I prefer the colours of his armour than.
Oh, I like that blue. That blue and the silver and the slight kind of purple tone maybe in there.
Mm. Don't get me wrong. I do. I love both of them.
And I like, Tamura Morrison's a pretty cool actor as well. I like him.
Mm. What about you, Chris?
So do I have the casting vote then in that case? Yeah. For me, it comes down to which one feels more Star Wars, and it's the used universe. It's the dent in the helmet. It's Boba Fett for me. I think it is the cooler armor. You've got the cape, which is like from the gunslinger. He's got the proper Wild West cowboy bounty hunter feel to him, and I think that's what edges it for me. I like Django. Don't get me wrong, but it's just a bit too clean, the armor.
But then again, I love the Mandalorian. He's got a name, hasn't he? And I've not committed it to memory, whatever he's called. Din Djarin, yeah, he's just awesome. He's like, actually, crazy as it sounds, he's like, for me, better than the other two, because I don't know, man, he's just bad to the bone or something, man. But he doesn't die as easy as goddamn the others, you know what I mean?
He's a great figure and all.
Yeah.
He's a bit harder to kill.
Yeah. It doesn't go out like a punk.
Jono Cast, yeah, he's I've got him up there actually. He's a really good figure, that Jodo cast. Really good.
Yeah. Right, go on then.
Yeah.
Bedtime.
So everyone's saying, yeah, lots of people saying thanks for the stream. Yeah, appreciate you all joining. It's been really good tonight. Thanks very much, Neil. Bro, when's the next live chat? I was thinking about trying to commit to doing them every Thursday, so we might try and do another one next Thursday. The problem I have with it is that I don't want to run out of things to cover and say, so we might make the next one like a themed one where we talk about, you know, figures and characters from just the Return of the Jedi or whatever, or if we just talk about vintage, or we just talk about Black Series, whatever, something like that, just to mix it up a bit. I don't want to be a stream where we just sort of end up repeating ourselves and we don't really have too much to say. Do you know what I mean? It's got to be worth doing. So if I was doing it every week and there's maybe no figures been announced or whatever, then I might struggle with what we'd actually talk about. But let's see what happens next week. Obviously, we've got Nick, we've got Chris, we've got Mike that can come on, and we can always find something to talk about. Maybe, I don't know, but maybe it won't be 3 hours, 10 minutes long.
Yeah, enjoyed it.
Yeah, cheers, Tim, for having me on.
Yeah,
Nice
no
to
problem.
speak
So,
to you
yeah,
well, Chris.
yeah,
Yes.
I mean, everyone in the chat, there's
Yeah.
100 people in the chat still. If you don't know Nick, only one Kenobi
Only
by now,
one, Kenobi. Only one.
check out his channel as well. Of course, subscribe. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, I know a lot of people that actually watch my videos, 60% of them aren't subscribed. So hit subscribe. It does help.
Yeah,
Like the stream and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, we'll see you next time. We're gonna go now.
Cool.
Thanks, guys. Thanks everyone tuning in. See you later.
All right. Have a good
Bye
one.
now.